The girl was reborn as an egg. Still a mermaid egg drifting helplessly on the sea. Just when the girl thought there was no hope for her egg life, she was picked up by a big shot from the Star Federation and brought home. Not only did he use a nutrient solution worth 10 million to care for the egg, but he also held it every day, inhaling D and sucking L wildly. At that moment, the egg on the bed in the darkness kept shaking. With a crack, the egg rolled off the bed onto the floor and split open with a gap. Baizu, who had extremely high spiritual power, was in the study, sensing the commotion in the bedroom. He immediately put down the work at hand and went to check. As soon as he opened the door, he saw the egg fall off the edge of the bed. The eggshell on the carpet cracked with a snap and shattered into pieces instantly. Zixiu felt his heart stop on the spot. He froze for about 2 seconds without moving. Then he saw from among the eggshell fragments a pale, jade-like arm reaching out, followed by a small golden tail, sweeping away all the broken eggshells on its body, revealing its full appearance. Baizu stared at that dazzling tail, his breathing still a bit uneven, his eyes fixed unblinkingly on the little mermaid on the carpet, jet black hair scattered on her small shoulders, innocent black eyes looking at her own pure golden tail. She flicked it helplessly over and over, making Zixiu's heart throb along with each flick. And Lingxi, who had fallen on the ground, was a bit dazed. Why did she grow a tail after just one sleep? And it was so small. Is this what it means to have turned into a mermaid? Blankly staring at the eggshells on the ground, then looking at the man standing by the door. This little brother is really good looking. Although wearing a bathrobe, it still can't hide the solid muscles on his chest. And his silver hair is just too good looking. Stared for several minutes. The little brother suddenly walked over and gently picked me up. Lingxi panicked. What is this situation? Opened mouth to ask but only made awe, feeling the restless emotion of the little thing in his arms. Baizu couldn't help but soften his expression, gently patting the little mermaid's tender back. In a low, gentle voice, he said, "Don't be afraid, this is your home." What is he saying? How can I not understand? Lingxi stared blankly at the other person with big eyes. Suddenly a rumbling sound came from her stomach. Both were stunned. She touched her flat little belly. Lingxi then realized that being small was one thing, but her upper body actually wasn't wearing clothes, shyly covering her face. Although this body was small, it could not conceal her inner self that was already 18 years old. Baizu also just realized the little mermaid, just born, needed to drink. He had already prepared the milk powder himself. It's just that it was too sudden and he forgot for a moment. But the little mermaid's shy face covering look really makes one reluctant to put her down. Another gurgling sound rang out. Lingxi was so hungry that she felt awful and forgot to be shy. She looked pitifully at the handsome guy holding her. Baizu felt a pang of distress at her gaze. "Be good, I'll go make you some milk powder right now, wait a moment." After saying that, he put Lingxi down on the bed. He trotted off to prepare the milk powder. Although she didn't understand what the handsome guy said, seeing his expression, it seemed he was getting her something to eat. So hungry and a bit like crying. Miserable, she raised her little hand, examined it for a few seconds, then pouted. Her little hand touched that golden little tail again. The scales were soft and smooth, and she felt very dry. Her heart skipped a beat. It's over, she turned into a fish. Could it be that I have to soak in water all the time? The more I think about water, the drier I feel. Feels like I'll die of thirst any moment. Just as I'm feeling uncomfortable, the door opens. I look up and see that handsome brother walking over with something like a baby bottle, gently picking me up. But now I have no appetite to eat, I just want to soak in water. I want water. Baizu looks at the little mermaid in confusion, seeing her shake her head and not eat, and constantly making childish sounds, looking like she's in great discomfort. His heart is extremely anxious too. Suddenly thinking of something, he puts the baby bottle into the little mermaid's arms, taking out the mermaid's notes from the space button. The first item written on it is, "The newly hatched little mermaid is not in a hurry to be fed milk. Should first be placed in water. The little mermaid only feels safe in water." Zixiu's face instantly turned grim. For the first time, somewhat angry. He actually forgot such an important matter. Holding the little mermaid, he strode towards the bathroom. For Lingxi, that large bathtub where she could swim several laps, filled with water in less than 20 seconds. Before she could even be amazed at how fast this faucet was, she was put into the water. Tilde so comfortable. Swam several laps happily. It seems being a fish has its benefits. At least no need to learn swimming, haha. Glug glug. Apologetically pointing at the milk bottle in his hand. Baizu saw this and quickly handed it into her small hand. Unfortunately, no one saw it now. The little mermaid opposite was busy drinking milk. Also didn't notice Baishu's face full of the relieved expression of an old father. However, the little mermaid didn't stop. Finished drinking 500 milliliters of milk powder. It is said that this is a newborn mermaid baby. An amount that could never be finished. Lingxi felt that she was only half full, smiled ingratiatingly at the other. "Aw, I want another bottle." Baizu seemed to understand her meaning. Asked uncertainly. "You're not full. Still want to eat?" Lingxi tilted her head. What did he say? Doesn't he know what I'm going to do? Suddenly think of some newbie dads or moms facing a crying child, always not knowing what the child wants. Sigh helplessly in the heart and have to gesture. Little finger points to the bottle, then points to one's own wide-open mouth. Finally, uncomfortably holding the stomach. Baizu indeed understood at once. Got up to prepare the milk formula. Skillfully made another 500 milliliters of milk formula. This is already the maximum limit of the bottle. If his private doctor Lacey were here, that gentle face would definitely become ferocious in an instant. This is used by the baby of a giant race on some planet. Too bad Baizu doesn't know. He only knows that this bottle is still okay. It's quite convenient to hold in hand, feels like playing with a toy. Lingxi is even more unclear. Happily hugging the second bottle of milk, drinking it with gusto, gulping down. This milk is really delicious, with a hint of faint sweetness. More so, it's full of milky flavor. She certainly doesn't know that this bottle of milk is worth 10,000 star coins. The insider Baizu doesn't mind either. In his heart, he's still calculating that bucket of milk powder won't even last 3 days. Tomorrow still need to go buy some more, also need to buy some clothes and such. In a while, send a message to Lacey. Ask him to make a list for himself. From now on, he is someone who will also be raising a mermaid. Excitedly, Zixiu sends messages to friends one by one. Although it's just a short sentence. My little mermaid has hatched. I also don't care about the video calls or messages from others. I just want to look at my own little mermaid. The second bottle of milk wasn't drunk as fast as the first. But the speed wasn't slow either. As soon as the bottle was empty, the little mouth burped. Lingxi patted her belly contentedly. Just after returning the bottle to the other person, she couldn't help but yawn. Sleepiness came so suddenly, even though she has now turned into a fish. But she hasn't slept in the water before. Still need to go back to bed. Little hand pats handsome brother's arm. Then points to the direction of the bedroom. Hands together placed on one side of the face, eyes closed, head tilted resting on hands. Baizu thinks his little mermaid is really smart. Although I can't speak, but that movement and that expression. Only an idiot wouldn't understand. And so adorable, how cute is my little mermaid? Gently pick up the little mermaid. Take a towel and wipe her body. The water droplets, then walk towards the bedside. Gently place the little mermaid's small head onto my pillow. Cover her with my gray blanket. After doing this, the mermaid has already fallen into a deep sleep. Stand up and look down at the little mermaid lying on the big bed. My heart can't stop warming up. The more I look, the more I like her. Gently plant a kiss on the little mermaid's forehead before leaving. After a while, I came back in. This time I also brought a box and crouched by the bedside. Carefully collected all eggshells into the box for storage. Just finished tidying up, a beeping sound rang out. Baizu carefully glanced at the little person on the bed. After seeing that it wasn't woken up, she breathed a sigh of relief, turned around, and strode out of the room. Opening the light brain, the image of Cord, also a noble, appeared. Baizu, let me see where the little mermaid is. Curd's wife Alice also squeezed over and looked curiously. She's already asleep, come back tomorrow. After saying that, she hung up. Opened Lacey's unread message. Congratulations, my lord, is the little mermaid healthy? Thinking of the little mermaid's soft appearance. A hint of softness between the brows, replied. She's healthy, come over and see tomorrow. Lacey quickly replied. Okay, I'll go over tomorrow morning. No need to reply orally. Opened the mall and browsed various Little Mermaid costumes. Before I knew it, I had ordered nearly 100 pieces. After looking at clothes, I also looked at some daily necessities. Bought a bunch of random stuff. Looked at the time, it was already past 11, time to sleep. As usual, took a shower and went to the bedroom. As soon as I entered, I froze in place, looking at the small shadow sleeping on the bed. Are we going to sleep in the same bed? Frowned and thought about it. Decided to make do in the guest room. Tomorrow I still need to buy a bed for the little mermaid. What if I crush her by sleeping in the same bed? Lying on the bed in the guest room. tossing and turning, couldn't fall asleep. Spirit overly excited. Eventually got up with a dark expression and went to the study to handle business. Worked through the entire night. Only felt a hint of sleepiness as dawn barely broke. But since it was already light, no need to sleep anymore. After pouring himself a cup of coffee and losing all drowsiness, he went to check the bedroom, feeling uneasy. Who would have thought that little mermaid was lying in bed with her eyes wide open? Lynxie still wanted to sleep, just a bit hungry. Looked around, that handsome brother was gone. The room had the curtains drawn, pitch black, didn't know how long she had slept. Stared for a long time before Lynxie realized. The room was so dark, yet she could see everything without any trouble. Seizing this novelty, she stared intently at her surroundings. As she looked, she gradually became lost in thought. Clearly I just slept in the hotel. Why did I turn into a mermaid when I woke up? The key point is that man who looks normal. But he wasn't surprised at all when he saw me. And he even took care of me carefully. Gurgle gurgle. So hungry, why hasn't anyone come yet? Just as I was muttering, I heard the sound of the door opening. I tilted my head and saw that it was still that handsome guy. I met his surprised gaze and gave a sweet smile. Ah, I'm hungry again. Baizu picked up the little mermaid and asked in surprise. When did you wake up? Of course, all he got was an ah response. Ah, what did you say? I don't understand, did you bring a baby bottle? Baizu looked confused. Lynxie helplessly pouted. Pointed to her own mouth and then touched Ganliao's little belly. Baizu also touched her little belly, it was very soft. Before touching a few times, the back of the hand was gently slapped. Looked up and saw the little mermaid wrongfully pointing at her own little mouth, continuously making ah sounds. Baizu realized and couldn't help but let out a low laugh. So you're hungry again, you really can eat. Spoilingly touched her little nose. Put her into the water and went to prepare formula. Still the same amount as last night, 2 bottles of formula down. The little mermaid's little face smiled into a flower. Baishu's mood also improved, the sky was already bright. Suddenly a small picture frame popped out above the bathroom door. What is shown inside is clearly Cord and Lacey in them. Although knowing she couldn't understand, still said a sentence to explain. There's a guest coming, I'll go open the door. Lynxie also saw it. Then heard the man say something and then went out. After a while, a loud and brash male voice sounded. Let me quickly see where the little mermaid is. Is she cute or not? Lynxie touched her ears. This voice is too loud, a bit noisy. Alice punched him once. Can you lower your voice? Don't disturb the cute little baby. Cordwin embarrassedly touched his nose. The little mermaid wouldn't be this timid, right? Zixiu just coldly warned him with a glance and then entered first. Lynxie really was startled. So many people came in all at once and I'm not even dressed yet. Panicked, I hide in the bathtub. In Baishu's eyes, the little mermaid was terrified. Then she glared fiercely at Code. Code didn't dare to speak at this moment. Z was curiously watching the little mermaid, trying to radiate goodwill as much as possible. Lynxie felt that these people in front of her meant no harm. But ultimately, she couldn't be reassured. People are very hypocritical. Who knows what they want to do to her? Don't be afraid, they won't hurt you. Who is speaking? Alice crouched in front of the bathtub and smiled gently at Lynxie. Without opening her mouth, a voice came through. This is our mermaid's unique sound wave, they can't hear it. Are you also a mermaid? Alice nodded. Yes, my name is Alice, I am an adult mermaid. That red-haired one is my husband, he is a human. The hair colors of people here are so diverse. Lynxie opened her eyes wide in surprise. What place is this? This is Vikasai Star, a very prosperous planet. You will like it here. Baizu was seriously analyzing the content of their conversation. And Dee, watching anxiously from the side, couldn't help but ask, Dear, what are you talking about? Alice rolled her eyes at him. Don't rush, I'm building a bond with the little mermaid. Lacey just stood aside with a smile. Once the little mermaid lowers her guard, she can cooperate with the examination. Why can you communicate with them? Lynxie is very curious. Alice chuckled. You can too, you just hatched. You haven't learned to speak yet, you'll talk when you grow up. Lynxie then realized she had asked a stupid question. It seems indeed no newborn baby can speak right after birth. She wagged her tail embarrassedly. But there was one thing she particularly wanted to clarify. She swam to Alice's side and quietly pointed at that handsome brother, asking, Who is that person? I've seen him since I hatched. He has been taking care of me, is he my dad? At this, Alice couldn't help but burst out laughing. She almost upset her pregnancy. The 3 men all looked at Alice in bewilderment. Cord and Lacey's eyes were filled with worry. afraid that she had given birth while laughing. Didn't let them worry for long. Alice barely suppressed her laughter. Stroking Lingxi's soft black hair, she smiled and said, "You are such a little fool. We mermaids are very sensitive to blood relations. Do you have a special connection to that man?" Lingxi shook her head. "No, then why am I in his house?" A very quick pity flashed in Alice's eyes. "Because you are an orphan mermaid without father or mother. He adopted you? You will be a family from now on." Lingxi's mood was somewhat inexplicably sad. "So it turns out that even if I am born in a different place, I am still an orphan." Quietly lifted head to take a glance at that man. A hint of warmth added in the heart. At least in this place, one would have a family member. Unlike on Earth, where there truly isn't a single memory to linger on. Baizu looked at the little mermaid who suddenly became somewhat sorrowful. Heart aching, he crouched down, touched her head, and asked Alice beside him, "What's wrong with her? Is she sad?" Alice's expression was a bit unnatural. It seemed she had said too much to the little baby. What if being too sad about her own background would make her unhealthy? Lingxi was the best at reading people's expressions in modern times. Seeing that both of them had worry for her in their expressions, couldn't help but smile sweetly at the two. Little Hand patted the man's big hand, indicating that she was fine, and asked Alice, "What is his name?" Alice's expression was shocked. "Is this high-level bloodline? This is only less than a day since birth. The thinking is to clear." And Zixiu was also shocked and uncertainly asked Alice, "She was just comforting me." Alice watched Zixiu, her expression becoming more and more envious. "Really envy this man's good luck." "The little mermaid asked me for your name." Baizu looked indifferent. Then, Alice's volume involuntarily rose a bit. "This still needs a then. Obviously this little mermaid's bloodline is very high level. Just born already has its own consciousness. You picked up a treasure." Baizu couldn't help feeling a bit proud. Proud of his little mermaid. But still expressionless, too. The emotional Alice said, "You tell her my name is Baizu. By the way, ask her what her name is." He is genuinely happy for his friend on the side. This guy's luck is really too good. A high bloodline mermaid, ah. The entire Federation probably doesn't have one. Luckily everyone is on our side and won't spread the news. Otherwise, no matter how powerful Baizu is, he won't have a peaceful life. Lingxi sees them communicating among themselves and doesn't answer her own question. Remindingly pats the back of Alice's hand. Before she could pat a few times, her little hand was caught into that man's palm. Ah, so awkward. How can you hold a girl's hand like that, eh? Forget it, from now on we're family, just getting used to it in advance. And Alice's maternal instinct overflowed from being patted. That soft little hand patted on the back of her own hand. It's like patting right on her heart. "Little mermaid, you're so cute." Lingxi replied politely. "Thank you, but you haven't answered my question yet." Alice seemed to just remember. Oh, right, this man. His name is Baizu. Little mermaid, do you have a name?" Lingxi nodded obediently. "I do, my name is Lingxi of the Lark, Water's Stream." Alice was a bit confused listening. Blankly asked Baizu beside her. She said her name is Lingxi of the Lark, Water's Stream. "I know stream water, but what kind of bird is a lark?" Baizu frowns. You ask her who gave her the name. Still a bit unhappy in heart. Thought that oneself could give her a name. After hearing Alice's question, Lingxi fell into confusion. She also doesn't know who gave it. She only knows that since she was born she was called Lingxi. And it has been called for 18 years, she is already used to it. Watching the little mermaid unable to answer, Alice automatically filled in the gaps. It must have been given by the little mermaid's biological parents. She heard that some ancient deep-sea mermaids, they received the inheritance of their ancestors from birth. And the little mermaid was discovered from the endless sea. So the little mermaid must be a deep-sea mermaid. After figuring it out, couldn't help but look at the little mermaid with admiration. Envy that they can survive in the deep sea and can hunt on their own, truly a role model for mermaids. Lacey saw everyone fell into silence and suggested, "Aren't we going to examine the little mermaid? When will we start?" Alice snapped back to reality and quickly translated for Lingxi. "Little Zixi, look at that big brother, he is a doctor. Now he wants to give you a full body checkup, okay? Don't be afraid." Lingxi looked up at that golden-haired, gentle European-American man and nodded obediently. Without Alice's help, Baizu picked up Lingxi and wrapped him in a bath towel. He also only then remembered that the little mermaid wasn't wearing clothes. Lacey did not notice Baishu's little thoughts, only thought that he was afraid the mermaid would catch a cold. Gently reminded him, It's okay, the mermaid isn't afraid of cold, no need to wrap so tightly. Baishu's mouth twitched slightly, said nothing else. As he spoke, the instrument was already set up. Gently took the little mermaid to give her a checkup. The soft little body held in the palm. Lacey's heart was also a piece of softness, truly a well-behaved baby. Don't be afraid, it doesn't hurt at all. While gently comforting, she put the little mermaid into the instrument. Lynxie sat in the cool metal dish. As soon as she sat down, a transparent cover came down. In this small space, only felt her whole body heat up for a moment, then the cover opened. And on the monitor beside, a dense array of messages appeared. Lynxie couldn't understand either. She thought she would have to go back to school to learn to write again. Lacey looked through the data. Unable to contain his excitement, turned to everyone and said, Lynxie is a female mermaid, very healthy. Her reproductive indicators are much higher than other mermaids. She is a high-level life form. Upon hearing this, except for Baizu himself, everyone couldn't help but envy such admirable reproductive ability. Baizu just curled the corners of his mouth slightly, picked up the little mermaid still in the instrument, gently stroked the top of her head. Even if her reproductive value was not high, he still liked her very much. Let alone this unexpected surprise. When checking Lynxie, everyone had already moved to the living room. Now the top of the living room is red light. Flashing means someone is at the door. Dee curiously asked if anyone else was coming. Zizu thought for a moment. It should be the express delivery I ordered. Dee, go open the door. Dee happily went to open the door. Opened the door and was startled, shouting, Baizu, did you buy this much? Lacey, quickly help me move it inside. The two of them went back and forth more than 10 times before all were moved into the living room. Oh my god, Baizu, did you buy the entire mall? Baizu sat calmly on the sofa, holding little Lynxie in his arms. Is it a lot? I still think it's too little. Alice's hand that wants to open the package is already itching. But remember, this is someone else's package. Politely ask a question. Can this be opened now? After receiving an affirmative reply, the three squatted down and started opening the packages. Dee started opening the large ones first. And Alice specifically picked clothes to open, occasionally exclaiming, Oh my god, this one is so cute. Wow, this little dress. Little Zixie must look very cute wearing it. Lynxie sat on Zixiu's lap, also looking curiously. Wow, these little clothes are all so beautiful. Are these all bought for herself? Couldn't help feeling expectant inside. Nearly 100 pieces of clothing. In no time, they were all opened by Alice. A little tired, she tapped her waist and sat on the sofa. Did you buy a wardrobe for little Zixie? Zixiu shakes his head. No need to use the same as me. Alice points at Zixiu and says incredulously, Oh my god, do you mean you both will sleep together from now on? Zixiu nods. What? I've already bought the bed. Looking at the crib that Keith unpacked and placed aside in the living room. Golden silk trim, the bed legs are also golden. There are also a few toys placed in the crib. The little bells look pleasing no matter how you look at them. He also bought bedding in the same golden color. He thinks his little mermaid is extremely dazzling. Ked's mouth twitches. Baizu, you let the mermaid sleep in such a flashy place? Baizu raises an eyebrow. What's wrong? Cord curled the corner of his mouth. It seems your little mermaid is very expensive. Don't want to mock my friend's way of raising kids like a tycoon. Zixiu nods. Thank you for the compliment. My little mermaid should be noble. Alice is scratching her head in confusion on the side. I still think it's inappropriate for you two to live in the same room. Little Zixie will eventually grow up. How inconvenient is it for a lone man and a lone woman? Baizu frowned slightly. Isn't it just a matter of time? Dee didn't expect that someone usually so aloof. How did he suddenly become a bit shameless? Lacey smiles and mediates on the side, saying, Now the mermaid is still small, the adult still needs to take care more. When she's older, we should still see little Lynxie's. Alice nods vigorously. Yes, we still need to see little Zixie's thoughts. Zixiu suddenly realized, lightly sweeping a glance round. Coldly spoke, hearing what you mean. Are you afraid I can't wait for Zixie to grow up and will lay hands on her? The three looked at each other, lowered their heads, and said nothing. Baizu saw their tacit admission. Couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth, his forehead covered in black lines. Dangerously spoke. I think your understanding of me is a bit superficial. Lacey immediately pledged loyalty. No, sir. Has always been very steady. I trust your character greatly. Dee saw the situation was bad and also immediately expressed his stance. Yeah, Zixiu, we just care too much about the little mermaid. After all, she's still so young, taking care of her is very troublesome. Although very annoyed by their distrust. But for the sake of Zixi, I won't bother with them. Lynxie looked at them. The atmosphere seemed a bit weird. Completely unaware that she herself is still the center of the topic. Now Lynxie has her eyes on a small dress. Pats Zixiu's finger, pointing at one of the dresses in the pile. Pointing and making ah sounds. Alice eagerly asks, which one has caught little Zixie's eye? I want that light blue one. Alice immediately understood. Picks out that light blue tall Little Mermaid dress. And even exclaims in admiration. Our little Zixie has such great taste. This dress is really beautiful. Actually, every dress is very pretty. It's just that Lynxie likes blue. Zixi watched their interaction from the side, feeling dumbfounded. Felt a bit upset inside. Clearly he was the first one she saw. But the Little Mermaid couldn't communicate with him, feeling a bit sour. "Aw, that one, give it to me." Alice was smiling sweetly. "Little Zixi, shall big sister put it on for you?" Lynxie nodded obediently. After all, she couldn't put it on by herself right now. Alice's eyes were full of little stars. With skillful hands, she slipped the little dress onto Lynxie. After putting it on, she kept exclaiming in admiration, "Wow, really so cute." If Alice lived on Earth, she would definitely think that this is a little fairy descending to the mortal world. Zixiu had also never seen a baby this adorable before. A bit regret buying so many little skirts. If one day I take Zixi out, it will be a disaster. Lacey and Keed are not much better. After exclaiming, Lacey deeply lowered his head. He cannot offend his future boss's wife. And Keed is full of regret. If I had known this Little Mermaid was so cute, I wouldn't have given it to Zixiu. This mermaid egg was discovered by himself. How wonderful it would be to keep it for himself as a daughter. Baizu suddenly felt that so many people were an eyesore. Said in a not-so-good tone, "Do you still have business?" Lacey understood the hint and immediately said, "I still have some matters over there, I'll take my leave first. If you need anything, sir, call me." After speaking, he left without looking back. Baizu is quite satisfied, having discernment. Then looks at Keed Alice. Alice completely did not receive the signal. Volunteering, said, "Baizu, I will come to teach little Lynxie to speak from now on. This way you can also communicate with little Lynxie sooner." These words really struck a chord with Baizu. With no reason to refuse, he nodded very reluctantly. Thus Alice had a logical reason to stay. Lynxie had been deaf for half a day. Couldn't help asking Alice, "What are you talking about? Why did that doctor leave?" Alice explained. "That doctor had something to do and went home. From now on, I will often come to keep you company and talk. Do you like it?" Lynxie hurriedly nodded. "Good, great, I want to learn to speak quickly. Just worried about how to ask someone. After all, this is the only one I can communicate with. Perhaps it's because it just hatched not long ago and has limited energy. Already started yawning non-stop." The little head nodding bit by bit. After a while, leaned on Baizu and fell asleep. Baizu tilted his head and looked at the Little Mermaid's cute sleeping face. Made a shushing gesture to the two. Went himself to put the Little Mermaid to sleep in the side bedroom. Next, go to the master bedroom to arrange things. So afraid of disturbing the Little Mermaid's sleep. "Okay, Alice, you can sit on the sofa and rest first." Then looked at Kdi. "Come, you help me tidy up together." If it were usual, Kdi would have complained long ago. It still takes two people to clean up this. But in order to personally arrange the Little Mermaid's sleeping bed, this small issue was directly ignored. Alice was not idle either, looking at this and that. She was very satisfied with the small blanket in the living room. "Cord, dear, we'll get one of these for the baby later. If it's a baby girl and little Lynxie playing together on it, how great." Cord also nodded in agreement. "No problem at all, dear. I can't wait already. Hope this is a baby girl like little Lynxie." Baizu looked at the two people snuggling together. Lightly twitched the corner of his mouth, indeed a bit annoying to the eye. Walking over with a poker face. "Zixi is still sleeping, you two can go back first." Alice and Cord exchanged glances. At a glance, she silently cursed him sentence. Alice scratched her fluffy golden hair and spoke. "Then I'll come over tomorrow morning to play with little Lynxie." Self-study refused. "No, I have to take her to make an ID card tomorrow morning, come again in the afternoon." Alice helpless. "Can't help it, the ID card is very important. Being a black household in interstellar space is also serious." Stayed for a while longer, the Little Mermaid still hasn't woken up. Had to secretly say it's a pity, reluctantly left first. "It's really unfortunate." As soon as they left, Lynxie opened her eyes. "But why is her face all red?" Lynxie turned over and lay on the bed. While looking at that puddle of water in the middle of the bed, Couldn't believe that she really could wet the bed again. It's so embarrassing. Just a second ago I was dreaming of swimming in the ocean. The next second I felt something was wrong. I drank milk twice and never went to the bathroom. First time being a fish, I never thought that I also need to excrete. If I had known. Can't know this beforehand either. So embarrassing, how can I face people when I go out later? Hands weakly covering my eyes. Thinking, what if someone sees me later? And should I call someone in? That water seems to have seeped through. She also seems a bit hungry. According to past experience, make some noise. Or softly call out a few times. That person called Zizu would appear, but now this requires courage. Hesitated for a long while. Still, hunger overcame shame, opening her mouth and softly called out. Ah, Zizu, come quickly to save my life. Sure enough, within seconds the room door was opened from outside. The familiar low, magnetic tone. Like a river flowing through her heart. She thought that if Baizu sang, he would definitely become a superstar. But that slightly mocking laughter made Lingxi's little head bury deeply into Zixiu's chest. It's enough to just see what's with the laughter. Zixi, are you embarrassed because you know you wet the bed? Don't understand. Inside her mind she's frantically shaking her head. But in reality she looks up with an innocent face. Confused, she points to her little mouth and then touches her little belly. Pretend nothing happened. Waiting eagerly to be fed. The effect is obvious. The man indeed no longer paid attention to that puddle of water on the bed. Instead, he took himself to prepare the milk powder. A familiar milky scent drifted out. The little stomach couldn't help but grumble. Zixiu handed over the bottle. Opened his toothless mouth and smiled at him. Took it and started drinking. While drinking, she saw a robot coming out from the direction of the second bedroom. The dirty bedsheet in its hand, it walked the other way. First time seeing a robot, a bit excited. Pointed at the robot and kept going ah. Wow, is this robot going to wash the bedsheet? Baizu doesn't quite understand. Feeling should be the first time seeing a robot, quite novel, right? Patiently explained. This is the newest type of home robot, very convenient. However, Lingxi just stared at him with wide eyes. Looks like learning to speak needs to be put on the agenda. Baizu also knew she couldn't understand. Silently sighed, still need to wait for a while. The bottled milk soon ran out, so he prepared another bottle. After finishing 2 bottles, he directly threw them into the sink without worrying. Surprisingly, the sink actually extended to mechanical hands. In less than 60 seconds, the milk bottles were cleaned. Baizu put them back into the cabinet. Lingxi watched without blinking, suddenly having a lot to say in her heart. What kind of world is this? No need to do housework, not even wash dishes. This earth needs to evolve even more. Only then can a youth reach this level. After eating and drinking, Lingxi was embarrassed. Because she was placed on the toy mat. Not knowing what Zixiu said, he went to another small room. Although she had long passed the age of playing with toys. But at this moment, she felt like crying. She had never owned a single toy. Her childhood was spent watching others play in envy. She felt that being discovered by a talent scout was not lucky. Coming here was the real luck. She now has a family too. Holding a doll in her arms. Tears of emotion swirling in her eyes. Finally slipped from her eyes. Condensed into pearls, falling onto the plush blanket. Lingxi looked blankly at the beads on the blanket. Crystal clear and particularly beautiful, are these pearls? And when she cried, she actually shed pearls. Zixiu came out after using the toilet. Saw the little mermaid sitting quietly on the blanket. Not playing either, a bit worried. Walked closer to see the little mermaid was actually crying. Zixi, what's wrong? Don't you like these? A worried voice sounded from above. It was Baizu. Aw, look, I can cry pearls. Small hands grabbed a few beads and handed them to Baizu. Generously said, I'll give them to you. Zixiu's expression froze, subconsciously took them. Looked at the beads in hand. Then looked at the little mermaid's still very moist eyes. Became even more worried. Zixi, what's wrong with you? Did this fall out of your eye? Will it hurt your eyes? Unfortunately, Lingxi doesn't understand. Looking at those eyes of his, they are not as cold as when he looks at others. At this moment, they are glowing with warm light. She wanted to cry again, maybe because too much had been stored in her eyes before. Uncontrollably, another tear fell. It was just caught by the man's big hand. Zixiu felt extremely sorry. What's wrong with this little mermaid? Wasn't she fine before? He had only left for a short while. How did his little mermaid become so sad? What he didn't expect was that the little mermaid actually took the initiative to wrap her arms around his neck. Burying her little face into her own right neck, she let out a pleasant humming sound. Baizu feels the Little Mermaid's voice, like drops of water washing her soul. This feeling is very pleasant. He thinks the Little Mermaid might not be sad. When she can speak in the future, he must ask her properly. Perhaps due to strong emotional fluctuations or having cried many pearls. Now Lingxi feels particularly tired. Unconsciously, she falls asleep on Baishu's shoulder. Baizu puts Lingxi on her small bed, watches her with concern for a while, then leaves. Arriving at the office study, he pulls up the surveillance video from the time he went to the bathroom. After watching, he feels a bit surprised inside. He can't quite understand the Little Mermaid's emotion. Is this tears of joy? It really shouldn't be. A newborn Little Mermaid would have such emotions? Strange, he called up the video of her sleeping in the second bedroom. His Little Mermaid seemed to have abnormally high intelligence. Actually would be shy because of wetting the bed. Although this is very cute. Turning off the surveillance, Baizu fell into deep thought. In the small bed, the Little Mermaid was sleeping soundly. Except for the small chest rising and falling, there was actually no breathing. Then thinking, fish all breathe with gills. Not sure if mermaids are the same. But they are all aquatic creatures, probably the same. He felt that his Little Mermaid's bloodline was really extraordinary. Newborn mermaids almost all spend time in water. And she has never slept in water. I can't help feeling lucky that I discovered Zixi myself. If it were someone else, they'd probably end up handing her over to the Federation. Gently planting a kiss on the Little Mermaid's forehead. Looking down at her sweet sleeping face, I whisper, "I will protect you, no more sadness." Then I lie down on my own big bed. Lying on my side, looking at the golden crib. A box suddenly appears in my palm. Inside it are clearly mermaid tears, each one like a transparent jade bead. He collected every single one without missing a single one. This can't be discovered by anyone else. When the Federation's mermaids cry, their tears don't turn into pearls. Putting away the box, I lie straight on the bed and fall asleep. As soon as dawn breaks, Baishu's biological clock makes him open his eyes right on time. The first thing upon waking is to check if the Little Mermaid has woken up. The Little Mermaid is still sleeping soundly and hasn't woken up yet. Send a command on the light brain to the robot to make breakfast. Then get up and wash up. While changing clothes, Zixi turns his head and meets the Little Mermaid's just opened eyes. Lingxi has just woken up. There's a blurry figure beside her. She glances dazedly at Baishu's bare upper body, lets out a short gasp, quickly turns around and covers her face. How can you change clothes in front of a girl so shameless? Baizu slowly and methodically finishes changing. Turns around and picks up the Little Mermaid from the bed. Rubs his freshly washed, still dry face against her little cheek. Zixi, are you shy? You still know that men without clothes cannot be looked at, right? Lingxi does not dare to meet his eyes. There is something in them she cannot understand. And today's voice is so magnetic. Oh my god, what is she thinking about? She is still a baby. Is it because this brother who adopted her is too good looking? Easy to have improper thoughts. Before thinking too much, a wave of urine urge hits. She feels it's too troublesome not being able to speak. Oh, I want to go to the bathroom. Zixiu is a bit regretful. Forget it, it's not urgent yet. Wait until the Little Mermaid can talk, then teasing her is not too late. Seeing the direction the Little Mermaid is pointing, thinking she wants to soak in water. Fill the bathtub with water and put the Little Mermaid in. Prepare to go. Prepare milk powder. Before getting up, she gets pulled back. Looking at the Little Mermaid's slightly anxious and shy expression, she asked in confusion, "What's wrong?" Lingxi looked around the bathroom. She didn't know which thing was used for the toilet. "Oh, I want to go to the toilet." Baizu was a bit confused. "What did you say?" Lingxi was so anxious she was about to cry, bending over and holding her small belly. Anxiously swam several laps in the bathtub. Baizu looked worried. "Do you have a stomachache?" He reached out to touch the Little Mermaid's soft belly. Lingxi saw this and knew he misunderstood. But how to indicate going to the toilet? In a moment of desperation, she scooped up a handful of water and wet the area below his waist, pointed at that place of his and kept saying "ah," and mimicked the look of relieving herself. Baizu has a bold guess. "You want to go to the toilet." Seeing that Lingxi didn't understand, just urgently swimming in the water, the corner of the mouth slightly twitching. Expressionlessly, pressed something on the wall. From the corner of the bathroom, something like a bird bucket came out. Zixiu opened the lid and put Lingxi on it. When Lingxi sat on it, still a bit dazed. That was flat, no hole, how to urinate? Before he could object, an opening opened underneath. Little hand waved at Zixiu. Zixiu understood at a glance that this meant not wanting him to watch. Just then clothes were wet too, so he went out to change. Lingxi only relaxed after seeing him go out. After taking a breath and handling it himself, visually estimated the toilet and bathtub. From a distance, a leap would land into the water. Not waiting too long, Baizu came over holding a baby bottle. Seeing the little mermaid already in the water, he was a bit surprised. Lingxi took the bottle and gulped it down loudly. His peripheral vision kept watching Zixiu's movements, watching him actually about to put the toilet back, quickly making ah sounds to get attention. Baizu turned his head to see what was wrong with her. Lingxi pointed at the toilet and shook her head at Baizu. "Ah, don't put it away, we'll use it next time." Baizu understood at a glance and said with a smile, "Just as you wish." Seeing that he indeed did not put it away, she relievedly finished the milk. In a bossy manner, she handed the bottle to him. "Ah, another bottle." After eating and drinking enough, Baizu picked a blue dress for herself and a little yellow hat, then took out a bottle of something and smeared it on her fish tail. A bit uncomfortable with others touching her tail, kept squirming around until she was scolded, then behaved, just quietly watching. What's amazing is that after applying this, the color of her tail changed, turned into a muddy yellow. Incredulously, she reached out her little hand to touch it. Rubbed it hard, but the color wouldn't come off. Looked up at him with a bitter face. "This color is so ugly." Baizu just smiled, stroked her head, picked her up and went to the dining room. Put her on the chair next to him. A breakfast was set on the table. Seeing it made Lingxi hungry again. She felt like she hadn't eaten proper food in a long time. The tip of her tongue licked her gums that still had no teeth. Felt that life was too long. The man's eating manner was very nice, like an aristocratic gentleman. He finished breakfast in just a few minutes. He picked up a tissue, wiped his mouth, then picked her up and went out. The rarest mermaid baby in the entire galaxy. Her first time out caused a sensation throughout the entire Federation. At this moment, Lingxi was quietly staying in the man's arms, watching him walk into the first building on a street. The staff inside were wearing black work uniforms. When they saw Baizu, they would all bow and say something. She guessed that this brother who adopted her might have some status. Baizu didn't even glance, directly past them, straight to a VIP room on the second floor. At the VIP room door, a middle-aged fat man in a suit. Sharp-eyed, he saw the person coming and immediately stepped forward 2 steps. Smiling, he said, "Hello, Lord Baizu." Baizu finally looked at him, nodded, and passed him to enter the room. Pangzi also followed in and closed the door. "Lord Baizu, are you going to apply for an identity card for this mermaid lady?" Baizu nodded. "Yes, her name is Lingxi Keston. I am now her guardian and from now on she is my fiancée." Pangzi exclaimed, "You are actually going to give her the Keston surname?" Zizu quietly looked at him. "Is there a problem?" Pangzi shrank his neck and asked nervously, Does Grandpa know about this?" Zizu said coldly, "No need for him to know, who knows how happy he might be?" Giving him a cold glance, "What, you don't want to do it for me?" No, I'll go do it right away." Pangzi wiped the cold sweat from his head. He said respectfully to Baizu, "Sir, please let me draw a trace of blood from your mermaid. Upload the gene file." Baizu calmly refused. "No need to draw blood, just a single strand of hair will do." Pangzi frowned upon hearing this. "All right then, please give me one." Baizu said gently to the little mermaid, "Just say it." Lingxi felt a lot of pain, looking at him as if about to cry. Seeing there was a black hair in his hand. Little hand touches its own hair. Why does pulling out one strand hurt just as much as pulling out a handful? Baizu thought the little mermaid was deliberately acting spoiled with him. Amused, he blew on the top of her head. "Be good, blow on it and it won't hurt anymore." Lingxi hadn't reacted yet, but Pangzi on the side was so scared he shivered. "Oh my god, is this still the Yama who rarely speaks? And when he does, he kills people. Come get it then." Pangzi shivered from being looked at. Quickly and respectfully brought the hair over. Asked in a gentle tone, "Lord Baizu, what level do you think is appropriate to fill in here?" Baizu lazily leaned back against the chair and said indifferently, "Just be factual, it's a level 3 mermaid." Okay. In half an hour, a black identity card was taken out. The black identity card is the highest level card. The owner's status is at least a great noble or above. After getting the black card, he also gave Lingxi a space button. The identity card was placed into the space button and worn on Lingxi's wrist. Lingxi was in a daze, unaware that her value was already considerable. She was still yawning out of boredom. It took 2 hours to finish everything and it wasn't yet lunchtime. He planned to take Lingxi to the mermaid shop to buy some necessities. He said something to Pangzi and left. Pangzi escorted them to the main gate. Watched the person enter the teleport point before leaving. A person with manager status came over and quietly asked Pangzi, "Lord Pang, that mermaid of Lord by shoes is what level? Which family's young lady is this?" Pangzi glanced at him sideways and told him to pry less into adults' affairs. The manager was a bit scolding. "This is just curiosity. Many families have mermaids. They are all eyeing the position of Mrs. Kristen. I wonder who is so lucky." Pangzi sneered. "No one has this luck. That person obtained a mermaid without registered information." The manager opened his mouth in surprise. The subordinate looked around and whispered, "Could it be that Master Zixiu bought smuggled mermaids on the black market?" Pangzi's face turned cold. "Don't talk nonsense. How could a lord take the risk to buy on the black market?" After speaking, she ignored everyone else and went upstairs. Everyone saw that Lord Pang had left and crowded around the manager. The manager was scolded and his expression was a bit unpleasant. He said sarcastically, "He is a big shot. What mermaid doesn't he have?" After saying that, he also went to work. Everyone saw there was no gossip to hear and dispersed. Baizu didn't know that bringing the little mermaid to apply for an ID card caused such a big commotion. Even if she knew, she wouldn't care. At this time, Lingxi, who had arrived at the store, looked at rows of bottles and cans. She keenly noticed that they were all the same brand of milk powder she was drinking. She looked impatiently. The bottle at Zixiu's home was already half drunk. She still needed to buy some more. Baizu didn't expect the little mermaid to be so smart. She even knew to let herself buy her milk powder. Looking at the little mermaid's cute expression, Baizu pretended not to see it. Deliberately walking around that shelf, occasionally picking up other brands of milk powder to look at. Just not looking at the one she was drinking, wanting to see her reaction. But the little mermaid just sat quietly in the shopping cart, her clever eyes looking around, as if it didn't matter what she bought. Baizu originally wanted to tease her to see her reaction. Who knew she didn't pick up on the signal at all? And stopped wandering around. Went straight to that shelf, grabbed milk powder and threw it into the shopping cart. Put about 10 cans, then stopped and went to look at other things. After walking around the mall, bought a bunch of stuff, useful and useless alike. Only stopped when the shopping cart couldn't hold anymore. One thing the Interstellar and Earth have in common is numbers. When paying, that row of zeros at the end almost made Lingxi's eyes go blurry counting them. After buying everything, threw the stuff into the space button. Then hugged herself and went home. As soon as she got home, Lingxi's stomach started growling. Zixiu heard it too. Put her on the living room rug and went to prepare milk powder. Holding a bottle, Lingxi lay sideways on the plush rug. Feeling very cozy, this life is just too great. Just as she took the second bottle, the doorbell rang. It turned out to be Code and Alice. They had come. As soon as she entered, Alice caught sight of Lingxi's position. Seeing the huge milk bottle in her hand, she exclaimed as soon as she opened her mouth, "Zixiu, why are you giving the little mermaid such a big bottle?" Zixiu frowned. "What's wrong?" He'd also had a lot to say but couldn't say it all. "If you give the little mermaid so much to drink, you'll overfeed her." Alice also nodded repeatedly. Looking at Baizu, her eyes were full of reproach. Baizu, for the first time, wanted to roll his eyes in an unseemly manner. "Is he that stupid?" With a look that said you are all trash, he calmly said, "Sorry, my little mermaid. Every meal, she drinks at least 2 bottles. Don't treat her like those ordinary mermaids. It's too insulting to my mermaid." The two were momentarily shocked by the little mermaid's appetite, until a childish voice sounded. Alice finally found her voice. "Alice, did you come to play with me?" Alice's trembling, chubby hand stroked the top of Lingxi's head. "Little Lingxi, are you full?" Lingxi nodded. "I'll be full after finishing this drink." Alice was very incredulous, but then thought, given that the other's bloodline is advanced, maybe it's because she's eaten a lot since she was young. She stopped dwelling on it and mysteriously took out a box, waving it in front of the little mermaid. "Little Lingxi, guess what gift I brought for you?" Lingxi looked at the beautifully wrapped box and shook her head. Alice directly opened it. Inside was something that looked like a tablet computer. "Look, I bought you a toddler enlightenment book." Lingxi opened her eyes wide with curiosity. "Can this kind of thing also be called a book? How do you use this?" Alice said while demonstrating. "Look, it's very simple. Press the power button at the top and it turns on. Tap this and you can look at pictures and learn to speak." Dee also crouched to the side watching Alice earnestly introduced to the little mermaid. Interjected, "Can she understand?" Alice thought about it and also asked Lingxi once. Little Zixi, do you understand? Linksy nodded, I understand. Pointing at the characters below one of the fruit pictures, she asked, is this the word for this fruit? Alice was very surprised. That's right, little Zixi, you are really smart. Linksy again asked, then can I practice writing? Alice was already looking at her with eyes that see a genius. Of course you can. There is an electronic pen on this side, just pull it out. Then she found the writing board on the tablet and said to her, here you can write. Linksy nodded in surprise. Great, thank you, Alice. Alice, holding starry eyes, happily said, little Zixi, you're welcome. In exchange, Linksy gave a sweet smile. Alice exaggeratedly covered her heart, pretending to be unable to bear it. Linksy just smiled and watched. She really liked this enthusiastic big sister who was very kind to her. Her gaze shifted to her highly bulging belly. Can't help but worry that her kneeling posture is very hard, right? Little hand pats Alice's arm, pointed to the sofa and said, Sister Alice, you'll be more comfortable sitting on the sofa. Alice heard this, her eyes full of emotion. Holding the little mermaid's cute little face, kissed hard and said emotionally, little Zixi, you're so thoughtful, sister really likes you. Linksy was kissed and felt shy, her cheeks flushed. Alice asked Code to help her up and said to Code, look, little Zixi cares so much about me. Even told me to sit on the sofa. I also want to have a daughter like little Zixi. Code thought the same and nodded quickly. Yes, it would be great if it's a daughter. Baizu watches their interaction from the side, silently twitching the corners of his mouth. You guys can just go envy. Alice, can you come a little earlier tomorrow morning? I need to go to work. Self-study is also a bit helpless. For the first time, feeling like I have too many things to do. No time to accompany the little mermaid. Alice happily agrees immediately. No problem at all if the time is too tight. I can even stay here tonight. Baizu and Kdi both say at the same time. Startling Alice, Kdi, what are you doing? Kdi carefully appeases. Darling, you can't stay here. You're already pregnant, Baizu can't take care of you at all. Alice thinks about it and agrees. Rested for a while, then went to accompany Linksy to learn speaking together. Played until the sky got dark. Stayed and had dinner before going back. Full and satisfied, Linksy really had no energy left. I want to sleep, see you tomorrow. Zixi gently placed Linksy on the soft small bed and said softly, good night, my little mermaid. The next day, Zixi hadn't finished breakfast yet. Alice and the others arrived. Being at ease, they also had the robot prepare a breakfast for them. Zixi was a bit surprised. You came without eating? Alice took a sip of milk and said, I was afraid we wouldn't make it in time. Keith arranged Alice's breakfast and said to Zixi, time is almost up, you go, leave little Zixi to us. Zixi is still a bit uneasy. But he still has to work, so he can only nod solemnly. Then I'm leaving, if anything happens, notify me immediately. Keith waved his hand without even turning his head. I know, we're not kids anymore. Finally, he glanced worriedly towards the bedroom before going to work, absent-mindedly arriving at the Federation's largest parliament hall. As soon as he entered, he was noticed by everyone, openly and covertly. A few bold subordinates directly approached and asked, Lord Baizu, I heard that you already have an underage mermaid fiancé? Baizu gave an affirmative reply. This isn't something that can't be talked about. Seeing the person nodding in person is different from hearsay. Everyone's thoughts turned subtle. But outward appearances still needed to be maintained, so they all expressed congratulations. Congratulations, Lord Baizu. The mermaid that Lord Baizu has taken a fancy to must be the most outstanding. When Lord Baizu gets married, be sure to let us attend the ceremony. Baizu only indifferently nodded and went to his office. As soon as the person left, everyone started whispering. Tell me, which family's daughter is so lucky to have caught that one's eye? Another person shook their head and said mysteriously, I heard that she is not a daughter of a noble family at all. Could it be a mermaid transformed from a commoner? That person continued shaking their head. No, it's a real mermaid. Just as a mermaid without a registered identity. Could it be that it was bought from that place? One of them shushed. Don't say such things carelessly, this is illegal. How could you know the law and break it? Also, don't discuss Lord Zhu here. I heard that person has extremely strong mental power, maybe they will hear. Baizu, who heard the conversation clearly in the office, without any expression on his face, he continued to focus on the work in his hands. The people below exchanged a bit of the latest intelligence on the big shot. Then they dispersed to work. One sharp-eyed person noticed. Among the crowd, unexpectedly saw the female assistant beside Baizu. Instantly scared pale. This female assistant is a capable assistant by Baishu's side. She won't go up and tattle right. The female assistant who is usually serious and unsmiling. Whenever I hear any negative news about her family's adults, absolutely will make that person receive a painful lesson. Today, however, she acted as if nothing happened. It makes one wonder if she didn't hear it at all. Daisy, that is, the female assistant. As she went up the stairs, her mind was in turmoil. She thought that Master Zixiu would not like those mermaids who are useless except for giving birth. She thought he admired elite women like herself. But how could it be today? A low, deep male voice. Push open the door and enter, looking at the man's unattainable face. Deeply bowed, "Good morning, Lord Baizu." Baizu knew it was Daishi, looked up at her and said, "Didn't I say there's no need to insist on these formalities?" Daishi smiled and said, "Yes, my lord." Actually, she always just agrees verbally. Next time she will still insist. Because she likes hearing Baizu speaking words of intimacy to her, "My lord." As usual, Daishi asked gently, "I heard from the people below that Lord Baizu has a mermaid fiancée." Baizu nodded and replied, "But she is still young." When talking about his own little mermaid, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but slightly curl up. This subtle change did not escape Daishi's eyes. Suppress the jealousy in the heart. On the face, sincerely bless and say congratulations to Master Zixiu. "Can I go to your home to see the little mermaid?" After speaking, showed a slightly mischievous expression. Baizu just pondered for a moment and then nodded in agreement. "Then after work, you come home with me." Daisy was overjoyed. "Oh boss, then I'll go busy myself first." At lunchtime, Linksy finally came to the table. In front of others is placed a sumptuous lunch. There is fish, meat, and vegetables. In front of her is only a lonely milk bottle. She has already finished one bottle. This bottle she doesn't want to drink, she wants to eat fish. She slurped her saliva and said pitifully, "Alice, let me try the grilled fish." Alice is very troubled. "But little Zixie, you have no teeth, how can you bite?" Linksy has a pained expression. Keed turns his head away, can't bear to look anymore. This poor little thing is too pitiful. For food, Linksy racks his brains and starts to carefully analyze for Alice. "Alice, you think, 1,000 we are mermaids, so we should live in the water. In the water there are only fish. Then we who are just born. The little mermaids, although have no teeth, then definitely can be eaten, otherwise the survival rate." Alice thinks about it and it seems so. As a pure-blood mermaid, physical condition is much healthier than other mermaids' health. Let Keed specifically pick the meat on the fish belly. Pick out the fish bones for Linksy. Made a small plate full of fish meat. Linksy hastily swallowed the excessive saliva. Also requested a spoon. Little hand holding the spoon, sending it into the mouth without any spillage. Keed and Alice stared intently. Once choked, immediately pried out from the mouth. Just as the fish meat was put into the mouth, Linksy felt that life was worth living. Why hadn't she realized before that this fish meat was so delicious? Tender and smooth. Only need to use the gums. Just chew a few times casually and then swallow. This mouthful of fish meat seemed to open the taste buds, continuously sending it into the mouth. While eating, she also called out to Alice, "You all eat quickly too, the fish is very delicious, I really like it." Alice carefully observed Linksy's expression, after finding that there was indeed nothing unusual. Then continued eating with Keed. For a moment, the dining table was full of joy and harmony. Halfway through lunch, Keed suddenly stopped. It turned out that he received a video call from Zixiu. He cautiously glanced at Linksy, and only after confirming there was no problem did he answer. "Switch the camera, I don't want to look at you." Alice chuckled. Keed gave Baizu the middle finger through the screen. Then he switched the camera to the back. The plate in front of Linksy was almost empty. There was still some fish scattered at the edge of the plate. He was earnestly scraping it in with a spoon. Then scoop out a spoonful and eat it. Just as Baizu saw it, Baizu frowned. "What did you feed her?" Dee immediately explained. "These are fish meat without bones. Little Linksy said she wanted some, so we gave it to her." Baishu's frown deepened. "Can she digest it? Is there any problem?" Dee wasn't too sure either. "For now, there seems to be no problem." Baizu, don't worry too much. Little Linksy is a mermaid, she can definitely digest fish meat." Only then did Baizu nod, looking at the screen. The little mermaid held a spoon mismatched to her tiny hand, steadily bringing it to her mouth. It was absolutely adorable. Secretly regretting that she wasn't there in person. Thinking that if eating fish meat is no problem after. Later, I will personally remove the fish bones for her. Today I will get off work early. In the afternoon, remember to let Zixi take a nap and then hung up like that. During the time they were having a video call, Lingxi not only finished the fish meat, that bottle of milk powder also didn't leave any and drank it all up. So full that she burped. Didn't know that just now Zixiu had looked at herself through the light screen. Thought it was just some friend of Cord and the others. Seeing that Lingxi was full, Alice only then realized. Actually, without Bashu's instruction, the Little Mermaid also needs to sleep. Because she had played all morning, the Little Mermaid was also tired. Put Lingxi into the small bed. Looked at the Little Mermaid's yellowish tail, disdainfully pursing her lips. Muttered discontentedly to D. Little Zixi's tail is so beautiful. Made so ugly by Baizu. D understood, though. Darling. Xiu is also protecting Zixi by doing this. This potion only lasts 3 days and will disappear on its own. You've been playing with little Lingxi all morning. Let me help you inside to rest. Alice yawned a few times, looking tired. Then I'll go sleep for a bit, you watch over us, okay? The afternoon passed quickly. Just as Alice woke from her nap, Baizu came back. And not alone, Daisy also came. Daisy, why are you here? Daisy smiled slightly. Hello, Mrs. Alice. I am following Lord Baizu to visit his fiancée. Alice nods. Lingxi hasn't woken up yet. But you've come at the right time, little Lingxi is especially cute. Zixiu takes off his coat, washes his hands and walks directly towards the bedroom. As if there is a spiritual connection. As soon as Zixiu opens the door, Lingxi wakes up. Opening her eyes, she sees Zixiu's handsome face, feeling very happy. Brother Zixiu, you're back from work. Baizu picks up Lingxi, rubs his cheek against the Little Mermaid's tender cheek and says, Zixi, I'm back, did you miss me? Lingxi also wraps her arms around Baishu's neck, rubs vigorously to show affection. Baizu, little Zixi, are you awake? Hearing Alice's shout, he then carried the Little Mermaid out. Little Zixi, did you sleep well? Gave Alice a sweet smile, slept very well, thank you. Lingxi saw there was an extra person in the living room. It was a woman in professional attire with reddish long hair. Her eyes were clear and cool, but one didn't feel looked down upon. Wow, she could be called an Ice Queen beauty, right? Quietly asked Alice, who is this beautiful sister? Alice replied, this is Daisy, she is Baishu's female work assistant. She also came to see you today. Lingxi was still a bit shy. What's so good about me to see? Master Zixiu, your fiancé is really cute. Daisy sincerely praised. Zixiu calmly nodded, though it didn't show on his face. But in his heart, he praised Daisy for having good taste. Cord saw that Baizu had all returned. Anyway, we'll come again tomorrow, so won't stay long today. Baizu, I'll go back with Alice first, we'll come again tomorrow. Zixiu expressed thanks, sorry for the trouble. Cord waved at little Lingxi. Lingxi also waved her little hand. Alice goodbye, Cord goodbye. Of course Cord couldn't hear. Cord nodded friendly at Daisy. Then left together with Alice. After they left, Lingxi felt a bit awkward in the air. Because Baizu didn't even greet the guests. That female assistant named Daisy was still standing where she was. With a girl's intuition, she told herself. This one named Daisy definitely likes Zixiu. Just a few minutes of chat time. At least, he secretly glanced at Zixiu several times from the corner of his eye. But brother Zixiu doesn't seem to like her. It's as if he is completely unaware of her feelings. Helplessly, she shakes her little head. The adult world is too complicated. She just needs to be a good baby. It was Daisy who broke the silence. Lord Zixiu, may I hug Miss Lingxi? Zixiu touches the Little Mermaid's belly, it's already flat. He says to Daisy, you come with me. Daisy follows Baizu to the bathroom. The bathtub is already filled with water. Baizu gently puts the Little Mermaid into the water. He stands up and says to Daisy, you can stay here for a while, I'll go prepare the milk powder. As soon as Zixiu left, Daisy crouched in front of the bathtub, staring back at the Little Mermaid's curious eyes. Can you understand what I'm saying? The Little Mermaid still had a confused look. It seems she hasn't learned to speak yet, the corners of her mouth smiling more kindly. She extended her hands, can I hold you? Lingxi understood but felt really awkward. What if all the adults want to hold me in the future? Forget it, I'm still a baby, it's fine. Swimming towards Daisy's hands, being picked up by Daisy. Not very gently. Daisy reached out and touched Lingxi's soft long hair, glancing contemptuously at the Little Mermaid's not-so-pretty tail. This is just a third-level mermaid. How is she worthy of Lord Baishu's affection? The mouth still spoke softly. You are really a lucky little fellow to have run into Master Zixiu. Mentioning Zixiu, a hand silently reached out and touched the Little Mermaid's tail scales. as if gently stroking them. Lynxie was puzzled, clearly knowing that she couldn't understand. Why does he keep talking non-stop? And the voice is clearly very gentle. Why does her own back feel a bit cold? Listening to the incessant chatter above her head, Lynxie squirmed uneasily, not knowing where she had brushed against. Suddenly a pain in the tail. The sudden pain made Lynxie instinctively flung away her tail. Breaking free, she then fell into the bathtub. Bang, splashing up an especially large splash of water. And I fell solidly onto the bottom of the bathtub. It hurt so much I wanted to cry. The splash of water left stains all over Daisy's body. Her face and clothes were completely covered. Daisy let out a scream. She quickly crouched in front of the bathtub and anxiously asked Lynxie, "Miss Lynxie, are you okay? Why did you suddenly jump down?" Just then, Baizu pushed the door open holding a milk bottle. Saw the scene of Daisy apologizing in embarrassment. Frowning, asked what happened, what's going on? Daisy stood up with a face full of shame and apologized to Baizu. "Sorry, Master Zixiu. I really like Miss Lynxie, so I took the liberty of picking her up. She was very well behaved at first and let me hold her. But I don't know what happened. Suddenly broke free and jumped into the water." Baizu met Lynxie's aggrieved expression, then looked at Daisy, who was full of apology and covered in water stains. "So what happened during the time he was away?" Lynxie swam over aggrievedly. "Oh, my tail hurts so much. Look, are the scales about to fall off?" Then lifted his head and glanced at the disheveled Daisy. A moment of doubt in his heart, what just happened? Did the scales get caught on the clothes? As soon as Baizu saw the little mermaid's appearance, he felt so distressed that he had no mind to care about others. Slightly apologetically said to Daisy, "Sorry, maybe Zixie was too mischievous. You go back first, I'll give you a day off tomorrow." Daisy wanted to say something more, but she knew Zixiu's personality, so she could only smile and say, "Maybe Miss Lynxie I was holding is uncomfortable. No need for a vacation, I just need to go back and change clothes." Zixiu nodded faintly. "Alright, see you tomorrow." Daisy still feels a bit reluctant. "Then I'll go back first, Lord Zixiu." That last glance from the corner of the eye carried a hint of deep affection. But it was wasted on the blind. One person and one fish didn't look at her at all. Lynxie is working hard to pry up that painful tail scale to show Baizu. Baizu looked carefully and saw nothing wrong with it. Suddenly it dawned on him. Could it be that she's throwing a tantrum because the tail color is too ugly? Amusingly touches her head, then touched the tail again and handed the milk bottle to her. Lynxie reluctantly took it. Not being able to communicate in the same language is really uncomfortable. She must learn quickly. At least she should first be able to understand what others are saying. Nighttime, but not yet bedtime. Lynxie rolled around on Baishu's big bed. From time to time she touched her tail, it still hurt a lot. She also examined it, but there was no problem. But it still hurt. She tried hard to recall what exactly happened. It didn't seem like she had scraped it anywhere. It felt like a needle had been stuck inside. The more she thought, the more she felt like there was a nail in her tail, and it hurt even more. Baizu sat on the bed, watching the little mermaid who was playing happily suddenly wailed, seeming very uncomfortable. Baizu frowned deeply and immediately carried the little mermaid to find Alice. Alice was about to sleep. Zixiu came at this time, holding the little mermaid with a very serious expression, making Alice nervous as well. "What's wrong, little Zixie, what's wrong?" Baizu said with a serious face. "I don't know, she looks very uncomfortable. Ask her if the fish she ate is not digesting." Alice's heart also skipped a beat, hurriedly asked, "Little Zixie, what's wrong with you?" Lynxie said weakly, "Sister Alice, my tail hurts a lot. Like a needle piercing it." Alice was shocked, the mermaid's tail is so precious. What happened and when did the pain start? Lynxie recounted what happened in the bathroom to Alice. After hearing it, Alice's face turned grave. Her heart somewhat suspected Daisy. But that shouldn't be, after all this is at Baishu's home. Doing bad things right under his nose, how stupid would that be? Besides, Daisy is just as loyal to Zixiu as Lacey is. Then what the hell is going on? Forget the truth for now, little Zixie's health is what matters most. With that in mind, Alice said seriously to Baizu, "Have Lacey come over to check on the little mermaid. Little Zixie says her tail hurts." Baizu didn't waste a second and immediately sent a message to Lacey. After sending it, he looked at the little mermaid with worry. How could this happen? It was fine during the day. Alice hesitated and said, "Could it be that Daisy did something?" Indeed, it was after Daisy came that Zixie became like this. But after more than 10 years of getting along, is Daisy such a stupid person? Baizu calmly said, I will go back to check the surveillance. Wait until Lacey comes, then we'll talk. In just over 10 minutes, Lacey hurriedly arrived. Didn't say a word of nonsense. Directly took out the instrument and placed Lacey inside. The data light was always green. This indicates the body has no problems. But looking at the Little Mermaid's pained expression, it doesn't seem fake. But where is the problem? How is the Little Mermaid's body? Alice couldn't wait to ask. Lacey frowned and shook his head. Data shows that the body is healthy with no abnormalities. Alice was stunned. How could there be no abnormalities? How could little Zixi be in so much pain? Baizu calmly asked, "Are you sure you checked thoroughly?" Lacey carefully checked again. The result was still that the body was very healthy. He then carefully asked Alice about Lingxi's feelings. After listening, he fell into silence. After a long while, Lacey finally spoke. Lingxi is an advanced mermaid we have never seen before. Could it be because of her bloodline? That she is different from other mermaids? Everyone fell into silence. Lingxi was still sitting in the instrument, enduring the pain in her tail. Seeing that they all fell into silence, heart involuntarily sinks. Could it be that oneself is already beyond saving? Slaps the transparent cover hard to attract Alice's attention. Lacey only reacts upon hearing the noise. Comes over and quickly puts away the cover. "Sister Alice, what's wrong with me?" Alice shakes her head. "Little Zixi, the data shows no abnormalities in your body. We speculate, could it be because of your bloodline that it's like this? Is that so?" But she always feels that things are not that simple. If it was that one called Daisy who did it, but why? A clear and cold aura suddenly envelops oneself. Baizu picks oneself up. "Don't be afraid, I will be with you." Lingxi realizes for the first time that when a person is in pain, the senses are acute. She had never noticed how good this man smelled. Leaning against his chest felt so reassuring. She could feel his steady breathing and sense of security. Baizu watched as the Little Mermaid stopped her lively fidgeting. Feeling an indescribable sadness, she said to Lacey, "Lacey, don't let Zixi be so uncomfortable." Lacey nodded, "I'll try." Lingxi looked curiously at the doctor named Lacey, placing his hand on her own tail, just about to awkwardly shake it off. Suddenly a warm current slid through like painkiller. The tail no longer hurt as much. This feeling is like a person who is extremely cold, suddenly drinking a bowl of hot soup, feeling especially comfortable. Involuntarily let out a yawn. In this warm power, falling into a deep sleep. Lacey soothed for a full half-hour before stopping. And the Little Mermaid had already entered a sweet dream. Baizu held the Little Mermaid and said to Lacey, "Lacey, you come back with me tonight and we'll check on her again tomorrow. It's getting late," and he said to Cord and the others, "Lacey and I are heading back first, you all get some rest. If anything comes up tomorrow, we'll let you know." Alice also wanted to go back with Baizu to watch over the Little Mermaid. But she knew she would just be adding to the trouble, so she could only nod. "All right, you two go back quickly. We'll come over first thing tomorrow morning." Cord nodded at the two of them, then Zhu and the others left. Baizu didn't sleep all night. "I was afraid that the Little Mermaid would wake up in the middle of the night and feel uncomfortable again." But the Little Mermaid slept peacefully through the night. This instead made Baizu a bit uneasy. Facts proved that this intuition was correct. It was time for the Little Mermaid's breakfast and she still hadn't woken up. She couldn't be awakened even when called, so they quickly asked Lacey to take a look. After Lacey finished the examination, her face looked somewhat grim. The Little Mermaid had actually fallen into a deep coma. Alice and the others had come over early as well. For the first time, they were helpless in this situation. Baizu found it hard to stay calm. What to do in this situation? Lacey shook her head with a pale face. "I don't know, I'm afraid that if I use medication, she might become worse when she wakes up. Using my psychic power to call upon her body's functions is simply impossible. She seems to have entered a self-protection stage. Unless her body is completely fine, she won't wake up." Baizu asked with a dark expression. "How long will that take? Is her current condition dangerous?" Lacey continued, shaking his head. "She is in danger right now. But my intuition tells me we'd better not move her or she'll be in even more danger." Alice was about to cry. "So we just stand guard like this, unable to help at all?" Lacey nodded solemnly. He wanted to take a drop of Lingxi's blood for a full analysis. But he knew Baizu would not agree. The atmosphere grew heavier by the minute. Inside Baishu's office, Daisy stood quietly by the window for a while, then went home. "Just arrived home, someone contacted me." Answered, a young male voice came through. "Dear Daisy, the stamina injection I gave you. How is it working on your mermaid friend?" Daisy's lips curled slightly. Don't know yet, my friend is a level 2 mermaid. Should be no danger, right? The male voice continued. Don't worry, success rate is 60%. Once successful, body functions will become like a first level pure blood mermaid. Although my potion is a bit extreme, it is most effective for female mermaid transformation. Dear Daisy, won't you consider it? Unlike before, Daisy didn't outright refuse, just asked, if I meet the standard for a first level mermaid, what is the success rate? The male voice over there seems shocked. Have you finally figured it out? Rest assured, the success rate of becoming a first level mermaid is 60%. At worst, it's a second level mermaid. Daisy is a bit tempted. But then she thinks of the side effects of this physical enhancement potion. She asks uncertainly, is there any danger to life? The man guarantees firmly. No, this is a complete overhaul. All the drugs used are mild. Unlike physical enhancement potions, which are a forced upgrade, there is a certain mortality rate. Daisy finally relaxes and asks in a good mood, if a third level mermaid uses that potion, what will be the consequences? The man hesitates for a moment. Although it's a 50-50 chance. But in my experiments on third level mermaids, there wasn't a single one who survived. Daisy silently smiled and gently advised, that's really terrifying. Bobby, don't use mermaids for experiments anymore, okay? Getting caught is no joke. Bobby readily agreed. I'm only helping women with mermaid transformation surgery now. Daisy said softly, that's good, I might come find you soon. I still have work to do, I'll hang up now. At this moment, Lynxie felt like her whole body was on fire. She was both hot and cold, she felt terrible. It was as if she heard someone's voice again. Child, my child, survive. She knew it was her mother's voice. That was the mermaid's death song, deeply engraved in her own soul. They are an ancient mermaid clan, always lived freely under the sea. Unfortunately, a disaster descended and a ferocious beast appeared in the sea, wreaking havoc and slaughtering, causing devastation to all sea life. The clan members scattered and fled. And her mother, holding her still as an egg, fled in panic through the turbulent sea, accidentally fell into a vortex black hole in the seafloor. When they appeared in another sea area, her mother was already at death's door. With her last strength, she left a legacy for her. Her tail thrust her away into the distance, and she was devoured by passing sea creatures. Lynxie wants to cry, she wants to scream. But she is still an egg, unable to bear the memory of the legacy. Forced into slumber, drifting in the sea. And her soul was affected by a black hole. Unexpectedly, it came to another time and space by a twist of fate. Inside another girl's body. She spent 18 years in a daze, when her original self was about to emerge. Only after being summoned by the original body did her soul return. The inherited memories were supposed to come in a few years. Unexpectedly, due to some external factor, it directly stimulated her own potential. She thought that Daisy really had a problem, didn't she? When she opened her eyes, what came into view? Was a sloppy man with a full beard stubble? Lynxie subconsciously wanted to whip him with her tail. Fortunately, his gaze was somewhat familiar, so she hesitated. Unexpectedly, she was pulled into the man's arms, listening to the man spouting a string of incomprehensible words. My soul finally drifted back. This is Brother Baizu. Baizu, I'm fine, what about Alice? Baizu never imagined 3 days could feel this long. When the little mermaid hadn't woken up for a whole day, Baizu had already started searching for the most capable doctor in the entire Federation. He even brought over the doctors by his grandfather's side. But it was all to no avail. On the second day of the coma, the little mermaid's bodily functions were declining. Lacey solemnly announced, in a few hours, we can start making funeral arrangements. Baizu fell into silence, although they hadn't spent much time together. He really did like this little mermaid. He cannot see her S in front of his eyes. When he had already lost hope, the little mermaid's body suddenly regained vitality. Her vitality was stronger than before, but she just wouldn't wake up. Baizu reignited hope, continuing to stay by the little mermaid's bedside without sleep or rest. He thought that when she woke up, he would definitely raise her well. Finally, on the 4th day, the little mermaid woke up. At the moment she opened her eyes, Baizu suddenly wanted to be sentimental for once. Holding Zixi, he said a few words of fear after the event. Alice and the others received the news and rushed over. They snatched the little mermaid and kept looking her over. Little Zixi, how are you? Are you okay? Lynxie smiled slightly. Sister Alice, don't worry, I'm fine. Lacey checked again and the body is still healthy. Dee also couldn't stop scrutinizing, thinking that after Lynxie woke up from the coma, how did her spirits even get better? The others were all lost in thought, and Baizu had just finished washing up and returned to that aloof male god. Lingxi was very happy that so many people genuinely cared about her. She said quietly to Alice, "Sister Alice, let's go back to the room and whisper a few things. Cannot let them hear." Alice was a bit puzzled. She felt that little Zixi had become a bit different. But how could she refuse little Zixi's request? "Little Zixi wants to go back to the room with me and whisper for a while. We'll be out in a moment." Zixi's face instantly darkened. "I guarded day and night, and when he woke up, that's just fine. He didn't even come to me first." He sat to the side, sulking, radiating coldness. Keed was also desperately signaling Alice, telling her to quickly return the little mermaid to Zixiu. But Alice couldn't care less about them. Without even receiving Ked's signal, she carried Lingxi into the house. Entering the room, Alice put Lingxi on the bed and asked, "What do you want to tell me?" Lingxi said seriously, "I want to learn languages." Alice was a bit confused. "You can always learn that. Is that why you came in?" Lingxi smiled. "I want to learn quickly. Sister Alice, I need you to help me with a small favor. It won't harm your body." Alice was even more puzzled. "No problem helping. But what does this have to do with learning to speak quickly?" A warmth flashed in Lingxi's eyes as she smiled and said, "If I directly learn the language, wouldn't it be fast?" "Then how to learn?" Then Alice couldn't speak, because Lingxi's black eyes turned golden, staring straight into her own eyes. She felt the pressure of hierarchy. She wanted to kneel and submit. She wanted to hand over her soul to the little mermaid in front of her. Not long after, Lingxi's eyes returned to black, and the pressure on herself finally left. Stammering, she said, "Lingling Lingxi, what are you?" Lingxi gave a mischievous smile. "Sister Alice, no need to be nervous. I was just learning the language you have learned in your mind. I didn't see any of the other secrets." Oh, such offensive behavior. Normally, Alice would have already lost her temper. But now she didn't show any defiance. She carefully glanced at Lingxi, then hesitated and stopped. "Say whatever you want to say." Alice, as if given assurance, boldly asked, "Lingxi, what is your identity?" Lingxi shook her head. "Don't overthink it, I'm still a mermaid. Maybe just a slightly higher breed." Alice shook her head seriously. "How could it be that simple? You just recently born have such a suppressing ability. Are you the legendary mermaid main clan? In the end, you even used honorifics." Lingxi shook her head helplessly. "Maybe, I'm not really sure either. But it only works on mermaids. It doesn't work on other humans." Alice nodded understandingly. "I understand. The royal family is much more powerful than us ordinary mermaids. You're still young now, so maybe you don't have much influence on humans. When you become an adult, it'll be different." Lingxi propped her chin with her small hand and spoke like an adult. "Maybe, sorry, Sister Alice. I extracted your language memory without your consent." Alice waved her hand carelessly. It's okay, there are no secrets among us mermaids. But I still want to thank you for letting me see this secret. Previously I have been worrying. Following the Federation developing like this, our merpeople will get worse with each generation. But your appearance let me see hope. At least our merfolk clan can still thrive." Lingxi doesn't understand. "I don't quite get it." Alice gently smiled. "It's okay if you don't understand. I will protect you as you grow up." Lingxi's eyes smiled into crescent moons. She didn't know why but was quite happy. "Dong dong. Are you two still not done talking in there?" "It's Kurt's voice." Alice replied. "All right, coming out now. Come, let me carry you out." Lingxi nodded and said with a smile, "From now on, even without sound waves, I can understand." Alice envied this ability. It's too good. This will save so much trouble in the future. Saw Baizu sitting upright on the sofa in the living room. Lingxi beamed with joy and automatically opened her arms for a hug. Zixiu calmly took her. Seemingly casually asked, "What secret are you talking about in there?" Alice mysteriously smiled and intended to keep it a secret. Lingxi just smiled and snuggled in Baishu's arms. Indeed, much better than the previous messy look. Baizu combed the little mermaid's black hair with her fingers, looked up and stared fixedly at Alice. Alice felt creeped out by the look and quickly said, "I'll tell you some good news. Lingxi can already understand what we're saying." Zixiu's heart moved, lowered his head and looked at the little mermaid. "Is that so?" Lingxi nodded. Keed became jealous again. "Baizu, you really have good luck. Little Zixi was clearly discovered by me first. How could I foolishly hand her over to you?" Alice gave him a disdainful look. "You have the nerve to say that without even asking me. The mermaid egg was just given away. I didn't know you were so generous." Keed was scolded by his wife. He crouched in a corner and went to draw circles. Lacey was genuinely happy for his own master. Lynxie is really good in every aspect. Now the happiest one is Zixiu. Although she still can't speak, she can finally understand what he says. That gives a special sense of accomplishment. Although it has nothing to do with oneself. Gurgle. Alice patted her own forehead. Oh my god. Lynxie hasn't eaten anything for so many days. I hurriedly went to prepare milk powder. Drank the amount of 5 bottles in one go. Lacey's young heart trembled fragilely on the side. Seeing Lynxie so healthy, the stone in everyone's heart finally fell. These days everyone's mood was a bit heavy, so they all went back to their own homes to rest. Although Baizu hadn't slept for several days. But his spirit was relatively strong, just slightly tired. Lynxie had just received the inheritance and also expended a lot of energy. Rarely, as soon as it got dark, everyone rested. Early the next morning, as soon as Baizu moved, Lynxie in his arms woke up. Yes, last night Lynxie and Baizu slept together. As usual, finished breakfast. Baizu changed Lynxie into a new skirt and then carried her out the door. I'll take you to Alice's house. I have to go to work today. Lynxie obediently nodded. Ah, okay, making money is very important. Zixiu lovingly touched the little mermaid's head and said, it seems I'll have to reduce my workload from now on. Otherwise, the time I spend with you is too little. Lynxie comfortingly patted his arm. Ah, it's okay, I'm very good, no need to accompany me. Zixiu sighed inwardly. Although he could understand what she said now. But he couldn't understand her meaning, something was missing. Alice could see little Lynxie early in the morning. Feeling very happy, she immediately warmly hugged the little mermaid. Zixiu, don't worry, my home has a big swimming pool. Little Zixie will definitely love it, you can go to work with peace of mind. Baizu forgot about this and said indifferently, I will have someone build a big swimming pool at my place later as well. Thank you for the reminder. Baizu touched the little mermaid's hair and left. Let's go swim in the big pool. He happened to have some family business to attend to and had to go out. He said to Alice worriedly, Dear, don't play too long, I'm afraid you'll get tired. Alice waved her hand dismissively and said, Ridiculous, have you ever seen a fish get tired from swimming? I'm not one of those later converted mermaids. He opened his mouth, then gave up. Then be careful, if anything seems wrong, tell me immediately. I know, go now. Alice urged impatiently. Keed watched Alice holding the little mermaid, walking towards the swimming pool with a cheerful back view. He shook his head helplessly, thinking it was better to go quickly and return quickly. Zixiu, who had not come to the council chamber for a few days, hurried straight to his office. People immediately started gossiping as soon as he got out of the car. Indeed, great nobles are different. They can come to work whenever they want. A young man named Katie walked over. He said disdainfully to the gossiping person, Baizu has many things to do. It's not your turn, a small staff member, to talk nonsense here. That staff member was not convinced. How do you, Katie, have the right to lecture me? I tell you, this conference is over. Your Lord Baizu. Maybe he'll be suppressed by my lord. Katie snorted disdainfully. I'll wait and see, just a perennial second place. After saying that, he left, leaving that staff member so angry that his face turned green. Dong dong, enter. Katie bowed and greeted, Good morning, Lord Baizu. Good morning. Baizu was in a good mood. Is there something going on these days, my lord? Baizu shook his head, Nothing, I'm worried because the mermaid at home is sick. Any developments these days? Katie's expression turned serious. Nothing else. Just heard that Lord Arthur has come prepared for this conference, and has rallied many great nobles by then. Zizu curled his lips into a cold smile. No need to worry about the royal family, they're waiting. Hearing this, Katie was a bit puzzled. What does my lord mean by that? Baizu said casually, with little emotion on his face. Arthur cares too much about these powers. He still doesn't know the insect race is stirring again recently. Katie was somewhat surprised. Then won't the royal family make Lord Baizu go to battle? A hint of gloom flashed in Baishu's eyes. He looked up at Katie and said calmly, I am just a scholar, not a fighter. No need to worry unnecessarily. There are plenty of people in the military, just send a few and that's enough. Also, this is a good opportunity for Arthur. As long as he dares to take this position, we can let him have it. It's just the right time to quit and go home to raise the kids. Katie wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. He didn't expect that Lord Baizu had already started thinking about early retirement. No matter what decision you make, my lord, we will follow you to the death. Zixiu nodded, looked at the documents in front of him and frowned. This kind of trivial matter is also sent here? Looks like the people below are too relaxed. Ketty immediately stepped forward with good judgment. My lord, leave these to me, I'll take care of them. Just as Ketty left with the documents, Daisy came in. Daisy said with great worry, Lord Viziu, you haven't been here for the past few days, did something happen? Viziu didn't speak, just quietly watched Daisy. His gaze was as indifferent as ever. Daisy outwardly maintained a worried expression. Inside, her heart pounded. He couldn't have noticed anything unusual. That potion is completely undetectable. What's wrong, my lord? Have I done something improper today? Viziu lightly shook his head and said without emotion. Ever since you left that day, Linksy has fallen ill. Daisy was first startled, then worried. Then how is Miss Linksy? Has the cause been found? Viziu pinched the bridge of his nose with his slender fingers and asked Daisy seriously. Did you do anything to harm Linksy? Daisy anxiously recalled as well. After thinking about it, he said with slight urgency. I was also wearing this outfit that day. There's no possibility of catching it either. Could it be that there was too much dust on the road? Did I get it on my body and infect Miss Linksy? Viziu sat on the office chair, seriously watching Daisy analyze the possibility that she was lying. Indeed, nothing could be found out. They even speculated it was caused by Lingxi's bloodline. The surveillance footage was also watched several times. Indeed, while talking normally, Linksy suddenly jumped into the water. But the surveillance is rigid. What you see may not be the truth. Nodding, he said. I see, it was indeed because of low immunity. Had a fever for several days and is still weak now. Daisy's heart skipped a beat, unexpectedly not dead. With a very regretful expression on her face, she said, It's all my fault, I'll be careful next time. Go ahead and do your work. Viziu began to check another batch of documents. Master, I won't disturb you then. She needs to ask Bobby what's going on. Linksy had a great time. A super large outdoor swimming pool. As soon as she got into the water, she darted out far away. Alice shouted from the shore, Wait for me. Jumping into the water, the light blue big tail spread out. Linksy stared without blinking. WOW tilde so beautiful. Alice laughed loudly. This tail of mine is just so-so, not as shiny as yours. With a flick of her light blue tail, she swam far away. The tail looks like a rainbow under the sunlight. Linksy is a bit disdainful of her own small tail. Although it's very shiny, it's too small. Look at that large long tail with a curve of nearly 1.5 meters. Sister Alice, let's have a race. Swim from this end to that end and back, whoever arrives first wins. Alice flicked her tail and splashed a big splash. Said proudly, Little Zixie, don't be too confident, okay? I am so much bigger than you can't beat me. Linksy wiped the water droplets off her face and said with a smile, Winning or losing doesn't matter, just have fun. Okay, then let's go. 123. With a whoosh, Linksy shot to the other end like a golden beam of light. Although Alice was prepared, but still shocked by the Little Mermaid's speed, hurrying as fast as possible, still couldn't catch up. Finally managed to swim back. Linksy was already sitting on the shore waiting. Oh my god. The gap is too big, you haven't even reached full moon yet. I can't even catch up to you while swimming. Linksy smiled confidently. I feel I am especially powerful in the water. Even if there is a shark now, I can swim faster than it. Alice saw Lingxi's unambitious look. What's the big deal about swimming fast? I heard that some deep-sea mermaids specialize in eating sharks as their main food. Linksy thought for a moment. In the heritage, it seems the clan. In the water, there is nothing they can't eat. But didn't tell Alice. What if she thinks we're a race that doesn't picky about food? That wouldn't be good. I'm still young, maybe I can eat sharks in the future too. Alice rolls her eyes. Zhao Zixi, you're overthinking. Baizu won't let you go into the sea. At most, she'll buy one for you to come back and taste fresh. Linksy watched her speaking just fine. How come you suddenly went quiet? What's wrong with you? Alice's face turned a bit pale. I might have been swimming too fast and stirred up my pregnancy. I need to rest for a while. When Linksy heard about stirring up the pregnancy, she didn't know if it was serious or not. Asked with concern. Is it serious? Does it hurt? Alice is also pregnant for the first time. She doesn't know if this is normal or not. A sinking pain in the lower belly. Linksy sees the situation is not good, worriedly says. Are you about to give birth? Quickly send a message to Cod to come back. Alice, enduring the labor pains, said. The light brain is on the beach chair on the shore, help me get it. Linksy looked up and saw the chair. With a flick of the tail, she leaped onto the shore. Linksy hurriedly slid over. Picking up the light brain, she ran towards Alice. With a splash, she jumped into the water. Alice was originally at the edge of the pool. To relieve the pain, she swam to the center of the pool, handing the light brain to her, but because it hurt too much, she didn't catch it and it fell into the water. Lynxie quickly went to retrieve it. What to do now? If I had known, I wouldn't have mentioned any competition. Alice took the light brain but did not contact Cody immediately, just said with pain, I can't wait for him to come back. I feel the child is coming out. Then what to do? Give birth in the water, how? Alice's pale face hung a smile. You forgot we are mermaids. Giving birth in water can be easier. She can't wait to come out. Lynxie watched Alice sink to the bottom of the water. Trickles of blood drifted out from her tail. A certain part of the tail has opened, it is full of blood. Even so, she didn't forget to remind. Lynxie, you go wait on the shore. This pool is going to get dirty, don't get the smell of blood all over you. Lynxie shakes her head. I'm fine, at worst I'll take a shower. I have to stay and help you. Alice is screaming while still worrying. Afraid that Lynxie, after seeing this scene, might be scared to have children. What to do? Lynxie is indeed a bit scared. Just didn't associate it with herself. Felt that giving birth is too difficult. It's been almost half an hour now. Alice has shouted until she's out of strength and still hasn't given birth. Sister Alice tried to hold back from shouting and use more strength. Afraid Alice might faint lying in the water, quickly swam over, grabbed her arm and gave her encouragement. Alice softly said okay, then endured the pain and began to gather strength for about 10 seconds. Let out a loud ah. A blue egg fell into the water. Alice saw that she had finally given birth. Weakly collapsed into Lynxie's arms. Fortunately, it was in the water, so the weight wasn't fully on myself. Lynxie looked at the egg coming out and also breathed a sigh of relief. Do I need to bring the egg over? Alice shakes her head. She is safe without being in the water. With difficulty raised the wrist to contact Cod. That side quickly connected. Dee hasn't seen the person clearly yet and asked worriedly. Dear, what's wrong? Alice said weakly. Hurry back, I've already given birth. Cod paused for 2 seconds, thinking he had misheard. Dear, what did you say? You're giving birth. I'll be right back. Alice rolled her eyes. Idiot, I've already given birth, hurry back and save us. Cod was so shocked he stuttered. What, already given birth? I'll be right back. After hanging up, Alice looked at the egg in the water with relief in her eyes. Finally delivered. Within a few minutes, Cod came rushing in. Seeing the bright red pool water, he was terrified. With a trembling voice he called out. Alice, are you okay? I'm back. Lynxie, upon hearing Cod's voice, dragging Alice towards the edge of the pool. Luckily, racial advantage. Dragging someone who offers no resistance is no problem at all. Cord was watching from the shore, terrified. Lynxie's small body dragged her own partner, swimming over to me with difficulty. Both of them were covered in bloody water. Cord looked like she was about to cry. She quickly jumped into the water and carried Alice up. Turning her head, Lynxie went back again. After a while, she swam back holding an egg. At this moment, Cord's eyes were slightly red. She never expected that she had only been away for a short while. This big one and this little one helped each other and gave birth to their own child. Cord's eyes were full of emotion. As soon as Lacey came in, she saw this scene. Cod, what are you standing there dumbfounded for? Hurry up and carry Alice to the bed. While speaking, carefully and cautiously, pick up Lynxie and the egg in her arms together. The little mermaid's always clean and soft hair was now also stained with blood foam, messy. A bit heartache. Cod, holding Alice, hurriedly went in. The room prepared in advance for childbirth. Placed on the white bed. Lacey placed Lynxie on another clean bed that was originally prepared for Cod to accompany the delivery. Lacey, quickly check Alice first. Lacey took out the instrument, it is a scanner-like thing. Held it in hand and scanned Alice's whole body once. Lacey put down the instrument and said with a smile, fortunately it's just a bit of postpartum hair loss. Just tired, rest a few days and it will be fine. Just replenish a bit more nutrition these few days. Cod finally put it down. That scene in the water was too scary. Lacey continued to examine the egg. Hart, after finishing the examination, handed the egg to Keed and said with a smile, Congratulations, Lord Keed, this is a female mermaid egg is very healthy. Cod's expression is a bit dazed, it turns out he already has one. Lacey chuckles. Of course, congratulations, don't hold it anymore. Did you prepare the water tank I asked you to prepare in advance? The egg needs to be placed in water for a few days. Cod panicked and didn't know what to do, quickly responded. Ready, I'll go get it right away. Hastily and flustered, he stuffed the egg back into Lacey's arms. Lacey almost couldn't hold it toward such an unsteady Cod. Could only helplessly shake his head. After a while, Cod ran over carrying the water tank. Some of the water inside had spilled. Quick, quick, put my daughter in. Lacey gently placed the egg in. All right, I've already given you all the precautions. I won't disturb you for now. I want to give little Lynxie a bath in your bathroom. Dee now has his heart and eyes full of his wife and daughter. Go ahead, feel free, don't be polite. Lynxie sees that mother and daughter are both fine and feels much relieved. Said to Alice, I'm going to wash myself, bye. Alice smiled and said to Dee by the bed. Dee, go find a clean towel for little Lynxie. The clothes on her are dirty, can't wear them anymore. Dee nodded. I'll go get it right away, Lacey, come with me. After leading Lacey to the bathroom said, all kinds of bathing supplies are nearby. Lacey, you look at them. The clean towel was placed on the bed outside the bathroom. After Cody left, the big one and the small one fell into awkwardness. Lynxie was a bit embarrassed. After all, this was not Brother Zixiu. How could she take off her clothes in front of others? Although she was a child. Pointing behind Lacey. Ah, you turn around. Lacey guessed Lynxie's meaning. Asked uncertainly. You want me to turn around? Lynxie nodded. Lacey smiled gently and turned around. Thinking she still knows to be shy. Seeing Lacey turn round gentlemanly. Immediately stripped herself naked and jumped into the water. Alice really knows how to enjoy herself. The edge of this bathtub is quite wide. On it were placed the things she usually uses, quite complete. Facing Lacey's back. Aw, you go out first, I'll call you when I'm done washing. Unfortunately, Lacey couldn't understand. Dazedly watching the Little Mermaid continuously pointing towards the door. You want me to go out? Can you wash yourself clean? Lynxie nodded. Lacey was a bit shocked, this is too smart. Before her mind could catch up. She had already walked out the door and considerately closed it. Then sat outside waiting, during which she also sent a message to Zixiu, briefly explaining what happened today. Baiziu, who was still working, indeed couldn't sit still. His mermaid is still so young and can already help people give birth. I wonder if she got scared. Simple instructions were given, then hurried to Cord's place. Lynxie in the bathroom started playing again. Alice's things are all fragrant. She really likes that the bathtub is now full of bubbles. Poking one with her finger, many more immediately come out. They are all milky white bubbles. She also saw the bottle with little red stars. A bit curious, she opened it to take a look. The bottle is transparent glass and her hands are covered in foam. Just as she opened the lid, her hand slipped and she accidentally spilled some into the water. Lynxie quickly put the lid back on. Guiltily looking at the door after confirming no one came in. She realized she seemed to have made the bathtub a mess. Within a minute, something magical happened. Those little red stars slowly unfold, turning into big, big roses. Obviously these are not real flowers. They are made of some unknown material. But they look just like roses. Soon these stars have filled the entire bathtub. Not even any foam left. Only the part above the neck is exposed. So beautiful. She remembered the petal baths from TV dramas. She had fantasized about it for so long, and today it finally came true. Before she could enjoy it for even a few minutes. The bathroom door suddenly opened, startling Lynxie. She saw it was Baiziu standing at the door and immediately beamed with joy. She reached out her little hand, resting on the edge of the bathtub, to greet him. Baiziu opened the door, eyes instantly filled with red. Seeing the scene in the bathtub, she closed the door with a backhand. Went to bathe the Little Mermaid herself. Lacey, who was also about to go in. Forget it, even though she's still a child. Baiziu wouldn't want to see that either, right? Baiziu looked at this scene and said helplessly, Zixi, how do you know to use these? Lynxie didn't answer, just scratched her hair sheepishly. Baiziu crouched down, let the water out of the bathtub and said patiently, you're still too young, not suitable for using these. It's not too late to use them when you grow up. A scene suddenly appeared in Baishu's mind. A black-haired girl lying in the bathtub, covered in red petals, revealing her pure white shoulders. Lynxie accused and shouted, I'm still a child, what are you thinking about randomly? Baishu's forehead was full of black lines. He felt he was a bit nasty, he needed to reflect. Lynxie quietly watched Baiziu clean the bathtub. She stole a glance at his expression. Why was it so strange? Could he be a bit angry? Thinking about it, that made sense. Some children always mess around with adults' clothes, secretly wear high heels, secretly use adults' lipstick. Lynxie felt a bit guilty, thinking she seemed a bit naughty herself. She sat quietly by the bathtub, not daring to make a sound. After the bathtub was cleaned, Baizu didn't let out water anymore, switched to the shower. Your body is all foam, I'll rinse you clean. Lingxi obediently slid over and stood still, well-behavedly letting him rinse. Baizu indeed washed properly and neatly. Just simply used a bit of shower gel and that was it. But the scent was too strong, Baizu wasn't used to it. Frowning slightly, he quickly rinsed Lingxi clean. After drying, he carried the clean little mermaid out. There was no one outside, so he went out and wrapped a towel around them. Zixiu knew that Lacey had gone to find Keed and the others. At this moment, he was chatting with Keed. Zixiu wrapped up the little mermaid. Carrying her, he went to greet Keed. I'll take Zixi back first, you guys get some rest. Oh, and congratulations on becoming a father. Keed was very happy and couldn't help saying, Thanks. You're almost done too, aren't you? Zixiu paused and quietly watched him. Cord suddenly reacted and covered his mouth. Sorry, Zixiu saw that he was a first time father, so on account of that, did not punish him. He carried the little mermaid and left. At this moment, Lingxi was lying by the bed, looking at the eggs in the tank. She turned her head and asked Alice, who was lying on the bed. Sister Alice, how long will the eggs take to hatch? Alice shook her head and said, Not sure, if Lacey said the nutrition is sufficient. They will come out in over a month. Then you will have a playmate. Lingxi smiled. Have you thought of a name for her? Not yet. Let Cord take the trouble to come up with one himself. As soon as I think about this, I get a headache. Sister Alice, you're really lazy. Lingxi turned over, sat in the middle of the bed, and pulled out a tablet. Found the writing pad, took the electronic pen and practiced writing on it. Alice glanced and encouraged. You're writing really well, keep it up. Lingxi's face slightly flushed. Her handwriting on Earth was still quite elegant. Didn't expect that after switching to a different font, it would look like dog scratches, still needs more practice. On the other side, Zixiu arrived at the council hall and just opened the office door. Daisy was standing inside, somewhat surprised. So early, is something the matter? Daisy bowed and said with a smile, Yes, Lord Zixiu, I came today to resign. I need to handle a personal matter. I'm afraid I can't work here for you, sir. Although Baizu is a bit regretful, she never forces anyone's hand. She agreed without hesitation. Okay, after you finish your personal matters, you can come back. Days passed one by one. Baizu and Kdi were busy every day. Lingxi and Alice stayed together every day. Their relationship grew better and better. Time flew and 3 months passed. Lingxi lay by the bed, looking at the egg that had been placed in a basket. Sister Alice said it would hatch in a month or so, right? It's been 3 months and it still hasn't come out. I think we should just call her slowly as a nickname. Alice, on the other hand, was calm and unhurried. But the nickname slowly is really not bad. This child is a bit slow. Wait for Keed to come back and tell him. The child's name is Yaiman Black. He's been trying to come up with a name for 3 months and still hasn't. Whenever Keed is mentioned, Alice gets angry and her speech becomes harsh. Lingxi wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said, Sister Alice, we mermaids should be a bit gentler. Look, Brother Keed now doesn't even dare to face you. He's with Brother Baizu every day, muttering about who knows what. Alice thought for a moment and said, Forget it, there's some big meeting coming up recently. I heard it's quite important. They're probably busy with that. Gulu gulu. Lingxi immediately looked at Alice's belly and said teasingly, You're hungry. Alice didn't feel embarrassed and directly asked, What shall we eat for lunch? Lingxi licked her lips and said happily, I want to have a whole fish feast. Steamed fish, braised fish, stewed fish, grilled fish. Alice's mouth watered hearing that. Let's do it. In 3 months' time, Lingxi's growth was still very fast. In less than a month, all her teeth grew in. By 2 months, she could say some short sentences. Now, although she still doesn't speak very fluently, she can basically express herself. The most important thing is that she eats a lot. In less than half an hour, the doorbell rang. Alice trotted to pick up the delivery. Lingxi couldn't help but exclaim, Things in the Interstellar are too efficient. Ordered on the optical brain and it was all delivered in no time. The Interstellar optical brain is also particularly convenient. It covers almost all functions. Unfortunately, she doesn't have an optical brain yet. I heard that toddlers have to be 5 years old to wear it. Now she only has something similar to a children's phone watch. That is what Baizu bought for himself. It also has video function, so that he can still look at himself while working. Alice has already set a full table of fish feast. Lingxi, with sparkling eyes, jumped into the small cart by the bedside. She remotely controlled it to head towards the dining table. Alice has already set the bowls and chopsticks and filled the plate in front of Lynxie with food. I don't know where you've eaten it all. Eating so much every meal but still not growing taller. To be honest, Lynxie feels a bit guilty. She roughly estimated she can eat about 10 jin of food in one meal. But after a full meal, she can go without eating for a whole day. Her physiological changes have completely deviated from the path of humans. She still feels a little disappointed inside. Alice saw that Lynxie suddenly seemed a bit down. After thinking for a moment, she made a joke and said to Lynxie, "Zixie, you know what? The more you eat, the happier your steady brother, Zixiu, will be." Lynxie looked up puzzled and asked why. Alice chuckled and said, "Because that means you'll grow faster." Alice cleared her throat. "Because he has too much money and nowhere to spend it. If you spend more, he will be motivated to earn money." Lynxie was still quite curious, asking how rich his family really was. "Is Brother Zixiu's salary very high?" Alice said enviously. "His salary is just enough to buy you clothes. But your brother buys you, he has a mine. Unlike Keed, who just lives off his inheritance and is worthless." Lynxie felt a little happy inside. Unexpectedly, she had become a child from a family with a mine. She would have to hold tightly onto Baishu's thigh. What does Big Brother Ked's family do? Alice pursed her lips. They just opened some shops on some planets or something. The key is that it's not even his alone. He just has some shares. Lynxie felt that she had seen too little of the world. How many planets are there in those planets? So it turns out that Brother Code, who usually looks a bit silly, is actually the legendary overbearing CEO. And my own family only has mines, forget it, let's eat, let's eat. The two happily finished breakfast, went back to the bedroom to have a nice beauty sleep. Alice nimbly climbed onto the bed and lay down. Lynxie climbed up with a lot of effort, glanced at the eggs in the basket. Ah, look, the egg is cracked. Alice sat up in shock, squeezed to the side of the basket to check. Sure enough, a crack appeared. Slowly it's about to hatch. Quick, quick, I'll send a message to Code. Tell him to come back quickly. If he's late, he'll miss the baby being born again. Alice is frantically making a phone call. Lynxie just quietly watches the egg. This crack, I don't know how long it has been open. Waited a long time, even has returned. The egg is still like that, not moving at all, not a single sign of movement. Just about to ask, my body was lifted into the air. Smelling a familiar scent, no need to guess, it's Baizu. Brother Baizu, you're back. Baizu curled the corner of his mouth slightly and softly responded with a mm. Did you behave today? Lynxie said happily. I behave every day. After saying that, she leaned in and gave a kiss on Baishu's face. At first, Baizu wasn't used to others' contact. This little mermaid is too enthusiastic. After many kisses, if not kissed once a day, he felt something was missing. But every time the little mermaid finished kissing herself, just leaned in to return the kiss, helplessly lightly touched Guer. Little mermaid satisfied, withdrew her little face, feeling in a good mood. Keed was a bit anxious. Why is there no movement? Alice frowned slightly and said worriedly, Let Lacey come and take a look. Why is Mammon not coming out yet? Upon hearing this, Keed immediately contacted Lacey. In about 10 minutes, Lacey arrived. After examining, Lacey's expression was also indescribable and said, The child is fine, sleeping soundly in the egg. Keed was a bit dumbfounded. Then what, not coming out? Lacey explained. It will come out eventually. The eggshell is already cracked. Once she rests enough, she should come out. Upon hearing this, Alice smiled and scolded the egg. So this is a lazy egg. Coder glared at Alice. I won't allow you to say that about my daughter. Alice gave a scoff and then ignored him. It was just past noon, still early, so we could only wait. Baizu had already carried the little mermaid and sat on the sofa outside. He took out a tablet and asked Lynxie, Do you want to watch cartoons? I'll watch with you. Actually, she doesn't like watching cartoons anymore. It's really because the cartoons here are not good at all. Mostly are cartoon mermaid babies. What things can't be put in the mouth? What things are dangerous to play with? This is still very useful for children. But she thought, never mind, as long as Brother Baizu is happy. Watched for an hour. From the bedroom came Ked's excited shout. Quick, look, she moved. Lynxie heard and couldn't sit still, urging. I want to go see. Baizu glanced into the inner room, put away the tablet, picked up the little mermaid and went in. The three adults surrounded the basket tightly. Lynxie stretched her neck but still couldn't see inside the basket. Baizu stood outside and coughed lightly. Lacey gave way. So Lynxie squeezed in wherever there was a gap, firmly occupying the central position to watch the egg. The egg was swaying back and forth, occasionally hitting the inner wall of the basket, making a crisp sound. Lynxie cheered on the side with sound waves. Come on, one more bump and it'll come out. Eggy felt the sound waves of its kind. First it paused for a moment, then began to violently hit one spot. After about 10 hits, with a crack, a large piece of the eggshell split open. Cord and Alice watched with great anxiety. Come on, baby, give it your all. Feeling the strength of both parents, Eggy moved even more fiercely. Crack, 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 the eggshell opened. A little blue tail poked out. Then a small head emerged. Golden, somewhat sparse hair. Tender little arms. Lynxie was stunned so tiny. Zixie looked down from above, thinking it was a size smaller than when Zixie hatched. Still, his own little mermaid was the healthiest. Seeing everyone just staring, Lacey shouted, "First stop looking should put the little mermaid into the water." Cord and Alice both suddenly realized, as if waking from a dream. Dee hurriedly picked up the little mermaid, put it into the bathtub that already has water prepared. The little mermaid originally still had tightly closed eyes. Into the water slowly opened eyes. Like Alice, both are blonde and blue-eyed. Lynxie nestles in by Shu's arms. Eyes fixed unblinkingly on the little mermaid's changes. Discovered that the little mermaid was like a newborn. Everything was slow. Opening eyes slowly. Blinking was also slow. Swishing the tail was also slow. After the little mermaid fully adapted to the environment, she affectionately rubbed against Alice's palm, making baby-like whimper sounds. Then thinking back to her own commotion when hatching, a black line quietly fell across her forehead. This is so the difference between a lady and a tomboy. Clearly I am also very gentle. It's been half an hour and the little mermaid hasn't said she's hungry. Unlike me, who came out acting like a starving ghost reincarnated. Suddenly a deep laugh came from above. Baizu said, "Slowly isn't as active as you." Lynxie thought to herself, I might be a bit more lively. Lacey smiled gently on the side and said, "Mermaids are all like this when they are first born. It's just that little Lynxie is especially healthy and active." He nodded with deep understanding. Yes. When Lynxie was still in the egg, she often moved around. Gradually, she stopped moving. Lynxie felt embarrassed after hearing this. She shyly buried her head in Zishu's arms. Baizu smiled and touched the top of the little mermaid's head, saying, "Zixie is shy." She let out a muffled making everyone chuckle. Lacey looked at little Lynxie. He thought that this lively little mermaid was even cuter. Baizu saw that Kdi's child had also hatched. "Just don't want to stay longer," said. "Won't disturb your family anymore. I'll take Zixie back first and bring her over tomorrow." Alice nodded. "It's rare for you to come back early. You want to play with Zixie, right? Go ahead." Lynxie stretched out her little hand, waving bye-bye. "See you tomorrow." "Take care, little baby. See you tomorrow." Back home, Baizu put the little mermaid into the swimming pool. Himself sat on the chair by the pool, watching the little mermaid swim several laps as soon as she entered the water. "Zixie, I've been a bit busy these days. I didn't have time to play with you. Do you blame me?" Lynxie shook her head and said, "Brother, you go ahead with your busyness. I'm fine." Then Baizu said again, "I know you are very smart, completely no need for me to worry. You don't even look like a child." Lynxie swam to the shore. With big eyes wide open, looking up at Baizu, she said, "But I am a child." Baizu smiled and said, "Your body is a child, but your mind may not be." Lynxie indeed never hid herself, because her body is that of a child. Some things that a child shouldn't do. At most, it makes people guess she is just smarter. Who would think that much? She felt that this cheap brother of hers was a bit hard to fool. She looked at him with an innocent face and said, "I don't understand what you mean." "You do understand." Lynxie doesn't know why Baizu is saying this. Couldn't he accept himself like this? Feels that he is no longer a simple child. Would he think he is very bad? The more he thinks, the more gloomy he becomes. But she also needs to ask clearly about Baishu's thoughts. If he doesn't mind, then what's the harm in being a bit honest? She asks with expectation. "Then, brother, do you still want me?" Baizu reaches out and strokes her hair, feeling very happy. "It's okay, I still want you. I like you better now. This is your home. Do whatever you want. We will live together forever from now on." Lynxie nods heavily. "Thank you, brother Zixiu. I have no other relatives. From now on, you will be my own elder brother." Baizu just shook her head faintly and didn't speak. Lynxie doesn't quite understand this emotionally ambiguous cheap older brother. "Forget it, as long as they don't kick me out, it's fine. You go play for a while, it's time for dinner. Don't think too much, we will always be family. With that sentence, I'm relieved. She likes this carefree life. Baizu watches the faint silhouette of the little mermaid in the swimming pool. He originally didn't intend to listen to D's idea of raising the little mermaid as a partner. But ever since he discovered this little mermaid had behaviors and actions that don't belong to a child, he suspected a newborn child, innocent and ignorant. Would she know about the boundaries between men and women? That day, he deliberately said he wanted to take a bath with her. The result startled her, her face flushed red, resisting fiercely. Then he knew that inside this little body, it was definitely a girl under 20 years old. He didn't have pedophilia, but he had the patience to wait for a girl to grow up. Soon he regretted why he had to be open and confessed to the little mermaid. Now here we are, it's bedtime. The little mermaid actually had a reason to sleep in separate rooms from him. Zizou said with a dark face. No, you're still young, what if you fall or need to go to the bathroom at night? Lingxi said naively. I have strength, I can take the small stroller to the bathroom by myself at night. I can turn on the light and go to the bathroom. Baizu still had a dark face. No, I'm not reassured. Wait until you're 5 years old before sleeping in separate rooms. Keki, you know I've grown up. I feel awkward. Zizi originally had a dark face, but was charmed by the childish voice saying those words and couldn't get angry, but still had a tense face and looked at her with a slightly hurt expression. Do you think I would do anything to a child? Lingxi's little face became serious. She said haltingly. You are the older brother, the younger sister has grown up, we need to keep distance. Baizu said innocently. But you haven't grown up yet. You're not even 1 year old. Lingxi doesn't want to talk to him anymore. Without a word, huffing and puffing, she climbed onto her own small bed. Climbed in, covered herself with the blanket, turned around and ignored him. Baizu was a bit dumbfounded. Is this little mermaid throwing a tantrum? Inexplicably feels a bit like laughing. Suddenly feels very playful. Carefully crawls to the little mermaid's small bed. Using a gentle tone he has never used before. Gently says to the little mermaid. Are you mad at Big Brother? Big Brother is also worried about you. Lingxi wants to pick her ears. What kind of demon is this? Why use such a tone to speak? How can you seduce a teenage girl? Directly pulls the small blanket over her head and covers it tightly. Refuses to hear his voice and shouts in a babyish voice to go to sleep. Lingxi's small face is a bit flushed. Clearly knows that she is not really a child anymore. Why is she still like this? Isn't he afraid that she will fall in love with him when she grows up? I haven't seen many men easily stirred by love. Thought about a bunch of random things for a while. Only after setting aside these strange thoughts did I fall asleep peacefully. Baizu lay in bed with eyes wide open, not making a single sound. Only after sensing that the little mermaid had fallen asleep did he silently curl the corners of his mouth. Hurry up and grow up. Fell asleep with anticipation. Baizu saw a mermaid standing in front of the French window in the living room. Long black hair and upper body with voluptuous curves. A smooth, fair waist below with a gleaming golden tail. Baishu's breathing quickened. This was an adult mermaid. In a low, hoarse voice, he said, turn around. Waited a long time, but the mermaid didn't speak. Baishu's heart was pounding fiercely, but he still maintained gentlemanly demeanor. You turn around. After waiting a few more seconds, the mermaid finally spoke. Said in that familiar childish voice. Brother Baizu, it's me, your little sister. Little sister has grown up, you can't look. We need to keep distance. Baishu's breath caught and he suddenly sat up from the bed. Gasping heavily. His eyes first looked around blankly. Then he realized he had been dreaming. His face instantly darkened. He took a set of clean clothes and went to the bathroom. In the bathroom, Baizu looked at his cold face in the mirror, recalling the scene from the dream. Fuck the sister. Fuck keeping distance, this mermaid is toxic. Blink eyes to fade the red streaks from the eyes. Return to a calm state as before. Washing the body with an icy face. I'll only wait for you for 18 years. After washing up, come out and see the little mermaid, sitting dazedly on the small bed. Seeing himself naked from the waist up had no extra reaction. Baizu frowned worriedly. What's wrong with you? Lingxi heard the sound. Only then did a hint of vitality return to her eyes. As soon as she opened her mouth, she couldn't stop the exhaustion. Brother, I haven't slept enough. After saying that, she lay back down into the bed covers and fell asleep the next second. Baizu looked at the little mermaid on the bed, a hint of daze in her expression, but immediately regained clarity. There have been a lot of things lately. Only after finishing the work can I spend more time playing with her. Lingxi had a dream last night. Dreamt that she grew up overnight. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were full of amazement. Like a fox spirit. No, she is a mermaid spirit. As she looked, she blushed. How can she show herself like this? Her upper body is not wearing clothes. If Baizu sees her, how embarrassing it would be. Speak of the devil and he appears, the bedroom door opened. Linksy quickly slid towards the floor-to-ceiling window. Wanted to pull the curtain to cover her body but it was too late. The person had already come out, she dared not turn around. Didn't dare to turn, frozen place. The footsteps stopped, she breathed a sigh of relief. But it was so quiet that you could hear his breathing. At this moment, Linksy had just woken up from a dream. She sat up blankly with a slight sting in her head, until Baizu came out of the bathroom. Only then did she remember that she had been dreaming. But her head hurt so much and her eyelids were so heavy. She forced herself to say one sentence and then collapsed into sleep. When she woke up again, it was already evening. Drowsily, she was held by Baizu and fed a dinner. Then she fell into a deep sleep again. Alice seemed thoughtful. You said you had a dream and your head hurt badly when you woke up? Linksy nodded. Yeah, I don't know why. Alice looked at Linksy with a strange expression. What kind of dream did you have? Linksy felt a little guilty and stammered out a reply. Can't recall. Alice didn't press further, just said, we mermaids rarely dream. I heard a long time ago. The mermaid ancestors created dreams for other creatures. Let the prey be immersed in their dreams and then eat them. This is the ability to create illusions, a psychic power. Usually mermaids are the dominant ones. Alice looked at Linksy with some confusion. But someone like you who creates dreams for yourself, and even gets backfired by it, that's the first time I've heard of such a mermaid. Linksy listened dumbly. I didn't create it for myself. I don't even know how it came out. Suddenly thought of another question. Then the mermaid ancestors. What to do if you encounter a prey with higher spiritual power than yourself? Alice thought carefully. Uncertainly said, the mermaid clan has records but I'm not sure if it's true. If you encounter a prey with higher spiritual power, then you're in trouble. That prey will instead control the mermaid, instead causing the mermaid to be stuck in a dilemma. Paused for a moment, suddenly looked embarrassed. Linksy pressed, is the outcome very miserable? Alice looked a bit embarrassed and said with difficulty. Of course it's miserable, at the very least, you get devoured by backlash. Linksy opened her mouth wide. Being eaten alive, and that's considered light? If the fish is gone, how can it be heavy? Alice's face turned slightly red and said in a very small voice. I saw it in the diary of an ancestor who was backlashed. It was used to warn the clan that the hallucination ability cannot be used casually. After that ancestor was backlashed, that despicable prey took the opportunity to forcefully occupy the mermaid ancestor, forcing that male mermaid. The ancestor kept laying eggs for him, laying eggs. Oh my god, how scary is this? Alice looked like her little heart was scared. Linksy's mouth twitched upon hearing this. What kind of plot development is this? Then thought about it, if forced by something extremely ugly. To lay eggs, it really seems worse than death. Looks like I'll have to be more careful in the future. Must never use mental power casually. This outcome is too tragic, so scared. Sister Alice, do you have hallucination ability? Alice said smugly. Of course, every pure blood mermaid has psychic abilities. Linksy said then asked, do you use it often? Alice's face turned red. No, the nobles on the main star also have high psychic levels. With my amateur level, I never dared to try. On the main star, commoners are very rare. At least I, who grew up on the main star, have never seen a commoner. So I couldn't find anyone to test on. Linksy wiped the black line off her forehead, really indeed. Alice said mysteriously. I think you might be stronger than me. Self-defense should be no problem. But definitely don't try on your brother Zixiu. He is famously a powerful psychic. Linksy quickly nodded. So he's this amazing? I must keep my distance from him. Alice uttered a and said keeping distance is not necessary, right? Linksy said earnestly, you don't understand. After saying this, she ran to the bathroom to see the little mermaid mammon. Alice thought to herself, it's over. If Zixiu finds out I instigated the little mermaid to stay away from him. Calm down, this is none of my business. Little mammon, I've come to see you. In the bathtub, the little mermaid was lying at the bottom blowing bubbles. Seeing someone come in, she just tilted her head and glanced, then continued blowing bubbles. Linksy also jumped from the small cart into the bathtub. Mammon finally reacted. She raised her still very delicate little tail and swung it at Linksy. With a thump sound, Linksy dodged it. Slowly losing balance, I threw myself into a somersault. The 360-degree kind. Ha ha ha, Linksy couldn't stop laughing. Even attracted Allison. Little Mermaid Manon watched this big fish bullying herself. Watched her own mother's mouth twitching. Blinking, she squeezed a tear from her eyes. Whimpering, she went to Alice to tattle. Linksy raised both hands in surrender. I am innocent. Alice soothingly patted the top of Little Mermaid Manon's head. And made no sound. In her heart, she felt having many kids is just fun, haha. Suddenly remembering what Keat had instructed, she said to Linksy, Little Zixia, tonight you will sleep at my house, Baizu is not coming back tonight. Linksy had no objection and asked, is it overtime? Alice shook her head, no, heard it's some kind of meeting. Linksy gave an O and said, I'm fine with anything. Alice laughed and said, tonight I can hold you and sleep. Linksy still had no opinion. Slowly, the Little Mermaid had an opinion. Kept pulling Mom's hair to express KY. Linksy spread her hands. See, your little princess is not willing. Alice amusingly pulled the hair out of the Little Mermaid's hand. Soothingly said, good, Mommy loves you the most. I'm just kidding, Sister Linksy. Linksy suddenly made a stop gesture. This generational order is wrong. I call you elder sister and your daughter calls me elder sister. This way the titles are all mixed up. Alice looked confused. It's messy, but since there's no blood relation, the form of address doesn't matter anymore. Linksy said carelessly. Forget it, just call me by my name gradually from now on. As for how to address each other, it's fine, we're not far apart in age anyway. Alice said, all right. What form of address, whether it's messy or not, doesn't matter. We'll just call each other whatever. Linksy quietly stuck out her tongue, forgetting this was interstellar space. It seemed they didn't really care about the issue of addressing each other. That night, in the Royal Council chamber. After His Majesty Charles casually mentioned a piece of news, the council chamber fell into silence. Everyone, look here. Which lord should we dispatch to garrison the planet Kili? At the rectangular council table, His Majesty Charles sat at the head of the table. Both sides are the military department and the political department. At the very front of the military department and the political department sit 3 senior nobles of the elder generation respectively, and Baizu sits in the 4th position on the political department side. At this moment, Baizu sits upright and stiffly in the leather chair, half lowering his eyelids to conceal the sharpness in his eyes, not caring at all about the various glances cast his way. As if the content of this meeting has nothing to do with him. His Majesty Charles, seeing that no one responds, is not annoyed either. With a smile on his face, he asks the elder in the first seat on his right, General Kirsten, what is your opinion? General Kirsten sits in his seat and says flatly, Your Majesty Charles, I am old, you should give more opportunities to the young people. On the first seat on the left, the imposing grand aristocrat snorted coldly. I think General Keaton has already learned to act like an elder. That chair probably has glue stuck on it. A cold glint flashed in General Keaton's eyes as he sneered and said, I'm old, can't get up anymore. I think we might as well let Elder Wilton's grandson go. I hear this young man is very outstanding. A surge of anger rose in Elder Wilton's eyes. My good-for-nothing grandson. How can he compare to General Keaton's grandson? Why not let your grandson go? General Keaton, suppressing his anger, slammed the table, scaring everyone into a shiver. Who doesn't know that my Keaton family has generations all from the battlefield? But now we have a grandson who works a desk job. How come the military department has no one left? Do you need even a pen-pusher lad from my Zeston family? Also have to send him out to fight. Upon hearing the general's anger, Emperor Charles quickly stood up to smooth things over. Old General, calm your anger. Old General, calm your anger. Elder Welton didn't mean that. General Zeston didn't accept his excuse and snorted. Then what did he mean? My Zeston family has fought for the Federation year after year, and died until only this pen-pusher grandson is left. How can you still not let him off? Emperor Charles was startled. Old General, these words are serious indeed. Our Federation could have today, Old General's family's contributions are indispensable. We all keep it in our hearts, respecting and honoring it. General Kirsten then sat down. I'm afraid some people can't wait for us to disappear in their eyes. His Majesty Charles wiped cold sweat. How could that be? Elder Welton said with a fake smile. Old man, what are you angry about? I only said your grandson is better than Arthur. The older you get, the more short-tempered you are. General Kirsten didn't even glance at him, sitting with eyes watching nose and nose watching heart. In that position, no longer paying attention to anyone. Elder Welton saw his attitude and couldn't help but get furious. His face turned toward Baishu's position and he sneered. Baizu is really getting better and better, why don't you share your thoughts? Baizu lifted his eyelids slightly. The chill in his eyes shot straight into Welton's heart like a sharp sword. Welton was startled, almost making a fool of himself in the conference hall. Looking again, Baizu was still that cold and indifferent young man. As if that was just an illusion, making Welton's heart pound with unease. Could it be that Baizu is too much like his brother Baijing, causing hallucinations? A cold voice rang out. I recommend Arthur. His abilities have recently taken another leap. The most suitable candidate. Elder Wilton suddenly stood up, looking threateningly at the speaking Baizu. General Keston widened his eyes. You old bastard, threatening a young man, aren't you ashamed? Why don't you ask your grandson's opinion? His Majesty Charles also said with a smile. Yes, Arthur, you speak. Do you think you can handle this task? Arthur stood up steadily, glanced at his grandfather who was giving him a look, and Baizu, who was always a head taller than him. He already had an idea in mind. Your Majesty, for the future of the Federation, I am willing to give it a try. Elder Wilton looked at his grandson in disappointment. But he couldn't say much in the meeting hall. Emperor Charles was very pleased. Good, very good, young people need to have drive. Since the main commander has been chosen, Charles selected two excellent young men from the military to serve as Arthur's deputies. Arthur, prepare yourself these few days. Set off in 3 days to the planet Chile, vowing to drive out the Zerg. Arthur thumped his chest with his right hand. It is to guarantee the completion of the mission, vowing to defend the Chile planet to the death. The meeting is over. Elder Wilton's face darkened. He led his grandson home in a hurry. Zixiu deliberately slowed down, waiting for the old man behind him. In the corridor, when General Keston passed by Zixiu, he only said one sentence. Bring your little mermaid to me tomorrow. Without waiting for his reply, the man had already strode away. The heavyweights were all gone. Only then did the others come out slowly. Lord Zixiu. As Zixiu was about to exit the royal palace, he heard someone calling him. Turning around, it was the third princess, Princess Nana. He didn't want to bother, so turned back and continued walking out. Lord Baizu, please wait. Princess Nai jogged over to block Zixiu. Ran too fast, had to grab Zixiu's arm to make herself stop. Zixiu looked at the hand grabbing his arm, frowned and pulled away without a trace. Princess Nai, is there something? Princess Nai, face red, said politely. I want to invite you to my place for tea. Zixiu coldly refused. Sorry, I have things to do at home. It's already late, not convenient. Princess Nai also knew it was a bit inappropriate late at night. But it was so hard to catch him. Still unwilling to let go of this opportunity. I have some things to tell you, it won't take much of your time. The two were tugging at each other at the door. Already attracted the attention of many people. Baishu's eyes are full of impatience. Unfortunately, Princess Nin, who was talking happily to herself, did not see it. Baizu didn't want to tangle too much with her, and took the lead to walk toward the royal gravel path. A flash of surprise crossed Princess Nin's eyes and she quickly chased after him. She chose a spot and stood still, and said coldly to Princess Nin behind her. Speak. She gave herself courage and said bravely, Lord Baizu, I am about to come of age. I hope to become your partner. Baizu listened gentlemanly, his expression unchanged, and coldly refused. I refuse, I already have a mermaid fiancé. Princess Nana, very hurt, said incredulously. They all said you adopted a third-level mermaid. How could she be worthy? I am a first-level mermaid, I can lay many eggs for you. I don't need it, I already know Princess Nana's feelings. But I refuse, there is no other objective reason. Also, please, Princess, do not casually slander my fiancé. Otherwise I won't let you off. After saying that, he left without giving her a chance to speak. Princess Nana opened her mouth. Hurt, she stood in place watching the figure disappear into the night. That silhouette that made her so infatuated. Tears slid down her face and dripped onto the ground. She had liked him from the first moment she saw him. He had a unique charm. Even if you say nothing and just stand there, you will still attract the eyes of the opposite sex. The other young lady mermaids all said. This young noble is not friendly to mermaids at all. The mermaid who falls for him is really out of luck. Hearing this made her feel timid, but she still didn't want to give up. She herself is a princess, he would surely consider her father's sake and give her some face. But how could he be so heartless, preferring to raise a third-class mermaid rather than accept her? Princess Nana's tears had burst forth. Your Highness, what's so good about that self-study? Today was only your first conversation with him and he acted like this. Shut up, I won't allow you to speak ill of him. Princess Nana turned back fiercely, looking at the guard who had come to his side at some unknown time. The guard swallowed the words he wanted to say next, silently lowering his head to hide the bitterness in his eyes. Lingxi didn't know when she had developed the problem of not being able to sleep in a strange bed. On Alice's bed, tossing and turning all night without falling asleep, only closing her eyes just before dawn. She hadn't slept long before Alice called her to get up. Rubbing her eyes listlessly, "Sister Alice, what are we having for breakfast?" Alice teased, still not awake yet. "Your brother Baizu is waiting for you outside." Lingxi paused, remembering that dream again. She felt she was no longer pure, harboring complicated emotions, slowly remote controlling the little card out. The man sitting in the living room turned his head as if sensing something. Baizu's eyes were like cold jade in an icy pool. The moment he saw the little mermaid, they turned into warm jade. Lingxi unknowingly curved her brows and eyes. "Good morning, brother Baizu." Before the words ended, she was already enveloped by a distinctive crisp and clear scent. Lingxi stiffened all over. She was no longer a child. Direct intimate contact with a strange adult man. Sooner or later something will happen. Baizu felt the little in his arms. The mermaid was a bit off. He directly asked, "What's wrong, not used to sleeping?" Lingxi relaxed her body and softly hummed in agreement. "Brother, have you eaten?" "No, today I'll take you to a place. We'll eat there." Lingxi thought they were going to the restaurant. Didn't ask too much and docilely nodded. "Sister Alice, see you later." Baizu thanked Alice and then set off.